of doing broadcasting. Have you ever been late to a broadcast because of traffic?
No. I missed a couple of broadcasts completely. Not SC games though. Back in the earlier days, flat tire on the way to the China Lake Naval Weapons Center in Saracoso in the desert to do a Riverside City College basketball game, and we just never got there. And I thought they were going to find our dried, bleached bones in the desert after, it took us hours to just flag down a ride to get back to Victorville, which is not exactly Los Angeles, just to get the tow truck to come and get us. I was doing UC Riverside basketball. No, not UC Riverside. UC Irvine basketball on TV, and season's over. They got one more game, but we weren't scheduled to do that one. And I'm sitting in my house in Venice Beach, and I got a call at about 6:45. The producer says, "Where are you?" I said, "I'm in Venice. Where are you?" "Well, we got a game to do tonight." And I said, "Well, it's not on the schedule." He said, "Oh, you didn't get the updated schedule?" Geez. So I missed that one. It was their fault, not mine.
You didn't get the updated schedule. Clearly, no. I'm in my living room. I did not. Well, Pete, thank you very much for the time. August 30th, Missouri State. So that's when we'll hear Pete next.
We got Missouri State and Georgia Southern with Clay Helton.
That's right.
Former SC coach coming in, and then it gets interesting after there.
Yeah, Big Ten schedule after that.
So no Citadel this year.
No Citadel. You got Missouri State.
Close enough. Missouri State's in their first game in D1. They're moving up, so good luck.
Cash a check. Pete, thank you very much for the time. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. I hope the remainder of your summer's fantastic.
It will be, believe me. A lot of body surfing coming up.
Well, enjoy that. Take care, Pete.
Hope you make it in the ocean too.
I'm on my way right now. I'm going right from this. I'm going out the door and into the ocean.
Beautiful. We'll do it. Thank you, Pete. Take care. Pete Arbogast with us, the voice of the USC Trojans and L.A. media royalty on the Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys Hotline.
I had never heard the John McKay angle. Have you guys ever heard that?
I've heard. I was going to say that. I thought everything you could hear about that day with OJ. I never knew that McKay talked him off the ledge like that.
It's fascinating.
And to be the guy that pretty much brokered that deal, that's pretty crazy. Because I guess McKay was just going to sit there and let what
had told us a long time ago. I mean, I guess that was another red flag that he was probably guilty, right?
Yeah, that he was going to off himself.
Yeah. Well, wasn't the rumor was he was going to? No, had she been buried by then? Wasn't he going to go to the grave and kill himself?
Oh, I never heard that.
Or somebody's grave.
I never heard
She had not been buried then, right? Because she had just been killed. He was going to go to, I thought the rumor was they were headed to a cemetery and he was going to kill himself on someone's gravesite.
And he's passed now, right?
OJ,
yeah.
Al Cowling's still with us, isn't he? AC still here?
AC, I think, still is. That's crazy. He found one of the dead cats from the
I know.
The Manson murders.
You know, the
guy's lived a life, hasn't he?
One of the most random things.
His neighborhood, man. It should be its own Netflix series.
That was a dark turn in that interview, by the way. One of the funny things, not funny, I mean, it's hard. I guess you got to find humor in some of this, though. The OJ deal was when the first time Al Cowlings called the police, and he's like, I got OJ Simpson in the bar. Okay, sir, who is this? This is AC. Sir, you're going to have to... Al Cowlings, man. He was all pissed that they didn't know who AC was. I'm Al Cowlings. You don't know who AC is?
That really was his 15 minutes of fame. Him and Cato, Caitlin.
Oh, Cato.
Yeah, I guess everybody involved with that trial.
There's no off-season when it comes to college football. If you want to stay in the know with all things Alabama, join us over on covercrimson.com and get $25 off your annual subscription. We'll keep you up to date and give you exclusive content all the way to the first Saturday of football season on covercrimson.com.
Hey friends, if you're looking to expand your business and inform the Next Round audience about your exciting brand, contact us at sales@nextroundlive.com to be part of the team and advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential consumers on our ever-expanding platform. Let the Next Round help take your business to the next level. Get more information by emailing us at sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to build a plan to take your business to the next level with the Next Round.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, we're going on a Tuesday now live for you as you tune in both audio, video-wise. Remember, give us a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Automatic downloads on the podcast helps us tremendously at Apple and Spotify. Follow us on all the social media platforms, including TikTok, at Next Round Live, at Next Round Live. Good morning, LTD and B with you here on the Next Round, show number 980 today. 980, 60 days away from the start of the college football season. We'll talk about the NBA later on in the show. I don't know what people watch anymore. It's a hit or miss ratings bag today for the NBA. I'll tell you what that's about later on. We'll talk NFL football. One of the Alabama greats has written a kid's book. We'll talk about that on the show today. Recruiting, a lot of it coming up. But we'll start with college football since I almost got to this in the spotlight yesterday, but I fumbled the snap and then fell on it, and then we punted and kicked it today. It's a graphic from Taylor that she put together on our social media platform. Before we pop it up, it's about SEC teams the last 5 years versus ranked opponents. Basically good on good, right? This is when you're playing good teams who has a good winning percentage. And there will be a couple of extremes here that you'll react to, but I don't think it's going to surprise anybody who the two top best teams are in the SEC the last 5 years versus ranked teams, right?
It's got to be Georgia and Alabama. It's got to be.
Georgia and Alabama, I would say that too.
You know, this gets magnified when we talk about coaches. You know, we really never talk about programs against top 25s. We always talk about, I remember back to Butch Jones, how bad he was against top 25s. As good as Dan Mullen was at Mississippi State, he was terrible against top 25s. James Franklin, awful against top 25s. Lane Kiffin has been no good against top 25. So, we talk about individual coaches. We really never talk about the program. So, very interested to see that.
Okay, so Lane's been there for 5 years, so let's look for Ole Miss too. But here's the list from Taylor, her work she's put together here. Alabama, Georgia, number 1, number 2, virtually very, very close, 78 and 75% there. You got to throw Oklahoma and Texas, so 4 of those years were in the Big 12. Oklahoma's next. Now, look at the gap there. Now, this is versus ranked opponents 5 years. Alabama, Georgia, 75+% with Alabama number 1. Then you go basically to a 50-50 proposition there with Oklahoma at 52.6%, Ole Miss at 50%.
Okay, let me say this.
Texas at 50%.
Winning 3 out of 4 games against top 25s is silly.
That's incredible.
But
Alabama, Georgia did that.
50% is what's good. So anything above 50% to me is like, okay, you're getting it done.
Okay, so Lane slides in there at 50%,
that's
by
impressive.
the way. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, can we pause there just one second?
I mean, we got all day, bro.
Yeah, I know.
Right now, it's the beginning of the show. We got 3 hours.
I'm aware of how the clock works. Ole Miss and Texas to be tied is pretty remarkable for Lane. But I would say, if you throw Oklahoma out because they haven't been in the SEC this entire 5 if you only take teams that have been in the SEC this entire 5-year window, Ole Miss is third. That is pretty remarkable to me that Lane has done that to be third.
Okay, I'm not going to jump ahead. No way. There are 5 teams that jump out to me
that are bad.
Yeah, but a lot of them are bad.
Yeah, the first one is Ole Miss as good.
Well, but
Ole Miss to win 50% in the last 5 years over top 25 is really, really good.
But I also want to continue, Lance, real quick to highlight what Alabama and Georgia have done, because this is versus ranked opponents. So this is everything from 1 to 25.
That's right.
And with Alabama and Georgia's success, they've had to play a lot of top 4 teams because they've been in the playoffs. So theirs is actually, not only have they succeeded in winning, as you said, Lance, 3 out of 4, they've done it with a greater degree of difficulty because they're playing the top of the top 25 a lot, because they're in the college football playoffs a lot. So that is, for Ole Miss, you pick off number 25. I want to say Kentucky, but Ole Miss struggles with Kentucky. You pick off number 25 Kentucky, that counts just like if Alabama beats number 1 Oklahoma.
The small numbers that are under the big percentages: Alabama 22-6, 28 games against ranked opponents in 5 years. Georgia 22-7, 29 games versus ranked opponents in 5 years.
I know you're talking us through this, but can you guys do your top 5 most surprising, good or bad in this?
Yeah.
I just want to see how close we are.
To your point, Brown, Ole Miss 50%, but they're 8-8.
Right.
Just 16 games. Almost half the number of games that Alabama and Georgia had to play. So not only is Alabama and Georgia clipping them off, they're playing twice as many
That's right.
ranked games.
That's what
there.
happens when you make Atlanta and you make the college football playoffs.
I will say, though, Alabama and Georgia in those games are probably touchdown plus favorites in most of them.
Yeah.
Most of the ranked games they're playing, yeah. I mean, again, they get the benefit of playing some teams at the bottom of the top 25 just like Ole Miss. I'm just saying they play more at the top because of the playoffs.
For the folks that are listening and can't see the screen, it's Alabama, Georgia at 75+, then Oklahoma 52%, Ole Miss and Texas at 50%, A&M 42%, Kentucky 41%, more on that in a second, Tennessee at 40%, LSU 35%, more on that in a second, Missouri, Mississippi State, South Carolina, Florida at just 21%, Arkansas, Auburn at 12.5%, and only Vanderbilt behind Auburn the last 5 years versus ranked opponents. Now let's break it down the way you want to do it, LT.
Well, no, I was just saying there's 5 teams that jump out Ole Miss at their 50% clip. To me, Kentucky over 40%.
I agree. Kentucky at 41% is better than I would have thought.
10-14, so 25 games, but they've won 10 of them. They beat Ole Miss last year on the road.
I know, better than I would have thought.
I don't care if it's teams like Ole Miss that they're beating. It's still impressive that Kentucky's winning over 40% of their clip. Now to the bad.
There's 2.
LSU at 35% is not good enough.
Not good enough.
Yeah, that was one of my surprises, Lance. If you would have said, what's LSU's, what's the little number there?
7-13.
Okay, if you told me LSU has played 20 games against ranked teams over the last 5 years, I would have said LSU at worst is 10-10.
I would have said 13-7.
Yeah, I mean, I would have guessed a winning record, but at worst, you could have convinced me they were a 500 proposition.
Well, I mean, take out the opener. There's, I think all 5 of those have been against ranked opponents. Have they not?
I don't know if they have or not, Jim.
Okay,
because I don't think UCLA was ranked when they played them.
I don't think Florida State was either. One time.
Okay,
I think one time was USC. Were they ranked last year? They were. They were ranked last year.
Yeah, I think
maybe.
Yeah.
They were underdogs, though.
Keep in mind, one of those openers was against Mississippi State. I know they weren't ranked. That was Mike Leach's first game.
Yeah.
But again, and this does not include the 2019 LSU team. This is right. This is 2021, 22, 23, 24.
20 on, yeah.
Yeah, so this does not include the 2019 team. If you did include that team, their number would improve, obviously.
Oh, yeah. What do you think I'm going next? 2 more.
2 more you're going to go.
I know one you're going to go, but it's not going to be next.
You're going to go Florida and then Auburn.
Florida is dead on.
Yeah.
I mean, what has happened to this Florida program?
I don't know.
5-18, 21.7% the last 5 years.
Would you guys tell me, how many years was Urban Meyer there? About 5, right?
Urban Meyer?
Let's see.
Yeah,
he left after 4, so he was there in 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think 6 years.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think 6 is right. Yeah.
And what is their record right now in the last 5 years?
5-18.
Don't you think he was probably about 18-5?
Yeah, I mean, he probably won 5 against ranked teams in one season.
Yeah.
I guarantee you there's a single season where he had 5.
That shows you how far this program has fallen since he left.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with you.
And then the other one is complete embarrassment.
I mean,
and you can't, like, Auburn fans can get upset with this. They are not an
they
elite
can't.
program right now.
They can't get upset
They're
with
not
it.
even a top 40 program right now. That number magnifies everything right
when
there.
when you're in a graphic of this nature, and the only team behind you is Vanderbilt, and the number to the right is that close, that is an absolute embarrassment.
What is that number?
I cannot
Okay.
believe 12.5%.
Yeah, and here's
No, I know it's 12.5.
Here's the little number.
Baby's at 10.5.
Here's the little number, 12.5%. The little number looks worse than the 12.5%. They are 3-21.
Wow.
Jim, that is impossible. So in the last 24 games versus ranked, Auburn has won 3?
3-21.
That can't be right. Now, I'm not doubting Taylor's work. And I know if anything, Taylor double-checked Alabama and Auburn.
Yeah.
She went over those with a fine-tooth comb, knowing our audience would.
Probably got other people to double check her work as well.
3-21 is Auburn's last 24 against ranked.
Yeah.
That is impossible to believe.
And there's only one more win than Vandy has. Vandy's 10.5%. Vandy is 2-17. So in the win column, Auburn's only 1 win ahead of Vanderbilt.
It's embarrassing to be that far behind Arkansas, Lance. Arkansas has been a wasteland for 5 years, and they're at 21%.
6 wins over
They've
ranked
got
opponents.
double the wins Auburn has. Arkansas does.
Yep.
And that has been, they have, in this period of time, have they not suffered through Chad Morris? And I think Chad Morris was there in 2020,
You
right?
say 3-21?
3-21.
I'm looking at coaches with the worst record against top 25s. Mike Loxley's got the worst.
Does he? What was his?
2-26.
Yeah.
That's 7%, by the way.
All right, my correction. Chad Morris's last year was 2019 at Arkansas.
Yeah,
so you're
that's
right.
what I thought. I thought
So,
the
and-
pandemic
and Pittman-
running a new era for a lot of people.
And
Holy heck.
Pittman replaced him, right? So Pittman has been that whole window.
So this is from last summer, so I don't know about last year, but Matt Rule going into last year in 21 games against top 25s, what do you think his record was?
How many games?
21.
And so this was at Temple, Baylor, and Nebraska. 21 games. I would guess Matt Rule against top 25.
We'll say he had 5 wins.
I'll give him 5, yeah.
2-19.
Tough. Again, now he's been doing that at Temple, Baylor, and rebuilding
All
Nebraska.
were the rebuilds,
And
which,
we're always-
and to be fair, that's what Hugh Freeze took on.
Can you give me what Sark was against top 25s? This is going to be fascinating last
What
year.
he was
last year.
last year
Just
against top
last year.
25?
Yeah, just last year.
He lost to Georgia. He lost to Georgia.
You're going to do this by memory?
And he lost. I think these are the ones he played, right? Didn't he? He lost 2 to Georgia.
Well, Arizona State was ranked.
Beat Arizona State. No, I was getting to that
Clemson
one.
was
Lost to
ranked.
Clemson. I mean, beat Clemson.
Beat Clemson, so I would say 2 and 2.
Yeah, no, he lost a playoff game too, so that would have been a ranked
Yeah,
opponent.
2 and 3. I'm sorry, 2 and 3.
Do you think that
I think that's right. I think he's 2 and 3.
Okay, so
No, I mean, do you know?
yeah, I got it
Okay,
right.
you
So
got it?
he's coached 31 games against
At
top
Texas.
25.
Oh, against 25.
Yeah. Is this right? What did I say? 31 games.
You
Yeah.
did, yeah. He's 9 and 22.
He's 9-22.
That's
this
Sark,
is-
that's Sark's record
Yeah.
versus ranked. Mm-hmm. God, that's
Yeah,
bad.
but I mean, he's been at horrible programs.
Yeah, USC
Yeah.
and Texas. Who wins there?
Whoever wins at USC, Washington, and Texas.
I mean, that's
I can't believe you're going to put Sark's jobs, Washington, USC, and Texas, up against our boy Matt Rule's jobs of Temple,
Man,
Baylor after a murder on campus.
hey, that's crazy though. 9-22.
I mean, I just.
And this
Some
is
of
one of the
these-
reasons that I've got. He's had his 2 best years ever in back-to-back
Yeah.
years, so he can continue to build this thing. I do think he's a better coach than he was, but the numbers are the numbers.
Taylor has given me the 3 wins for Auburn the last 5 years.
So these are the only 3 ranked wins.
These are their ranked wins. How big was their win over Mike Elko and Texas A&M last year? That's one of them.
Wow. I mean, that was a team that finished 8 and 4, but they were ranked. I mean,
None in 2023.
right?
None in 2022. Arkansas in 2021 and Kentucky in 2020.
Oh no, Kentucky,
Kentucky,
Arkansas,
and Texas
and
A&M.
A&M.
That's their 3 wins in 5
Yep.
years.
And a little school we like to call none in a couple of those years.
Yeah.
You know what the 3 got in common? And none of them will ever won an SEC championship, right?
They have not, but
You don't think A&M will ever win an SEC
I don't.
championship?
I don't. Yeah. I mean, there's guys. That is
too
just
much money.
By the way, just real quick, I got to close this out. Cristobal 8-17 going into last year against top 25s. Mike Norvell 8-16. You know that just got worse.
Yep.
James Franklin was 14-23 going into last year, and then Heupel was 9-10. Brian Kelly was 34-34. To me, that's not bad.
Brian Kelly's 34-34. I agree with you. 500 is not bad. I mean, the list of coaches that are winning record against top 25 current has got to be pretty short, right? I would guess Dabo has it. I would guess DeBoer has it. Brian Kelly is probably still 500.
Lincoln
after
Riley
last year.
going into last
Lincoln
year
Riley,
was 17-12.
so he's probably still got a winning record.
Yeah.
I don't know if DeBoer does or not. It's going
No,
to be really
DeBoer
close.
has to.
It's going to be
DeBoer-
close to 50.
Dabo Sweeney was cooking.
100% Dabo does.
39-24, 62% going into last year. Ryan Day was 18-8.
Yeah, I was going to say Day. I was going to say Lanning.
Ryan Day's a good coach, by the way. We pile on that guy all
I know.
the time.
You start comparing him in ranked games.
When you do
Yeah.
numbers, you take out Michigan, that guy's good.
Yeah, well,
Kirby was 33-12.
yep.
Take out late November, December. I
But
should
your
say.
best winning percentage going into last year, and do it on the fly, what was he? Kalen DeBoer had an 86% winning percentage against top 25.
Really?
12-2 going into last year.
Well, fortunately for that record, his losses, only one of them were top 25 teams.
That's right.
Yeah, it is true.
He lost a bunch of crap teams.
I didn't even think about that. Oklahoma, Vanderbilt. He lost to Tennessee, right?
Tennessee was ranked.
Michigan was not.
Were they not ranked in the bowl game?
Yeah, and so then he had some top 25 wins, right? So
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Yeah,
Georgia, primarily.
LSU.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy numbers there. We got crazy numbers in our 40 and 40 today. We'll get to that in a second. We're going to talk a little recruiting because it was a crazy day yesterday. Bless Hayes Fawcett's heart. He was working his butt off yesterday with graphics and sending stuff out. The On3 Sports graphics guy
It may have been one of his busiest days ever, and it seemed like every one of the flips or commitments yesterday had a tie to Alabama and Auburn. We'll talk about that in a second after you hear about a couple of our great sponsors. One of them, our friends at Company Distilling, now available in the great state of Alabama at ABC stores near you, whether it's ABC store number 1 or ABC store number 80, you can find Company Distilling.
You know, a lot of people trying to figure out just a fun, unique summer vacation. How about our friends at Company Distilling? If you're looking for that summer road trip we're toasting to, Company Distilling has 3 must-visit distillery locations across Tennessee. Thompson Station, just outside of Nashville. Historic Lynchburg and Townsend in the heart of the Smoky Mountains. Take a tour, enjoy a flight of award-winning whiskey, sip on a craft cocktail, and soak it all in with the best of company. Plan your visit at CompanyDistilling.com. All ages welcome to visit. Must be 21 plus to sample. Please enjoy responsibly. You can now find Company Distilling in ABC stores across Alabama, also states like Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, and South Carolina. Whether you're picking up a bottle for the weekend gathering or just exploring something new, Company Distilling is worth the pour. For more information, CompanyDistilling.com.
All right, as I sit here and talk to you, I'm wearing a pair of beautiful glasses from Breakline Optics. We all have them up here. We all love them up here. One thing I like about these, I've seen them do this. These lenses are molded polarized Trivex. That means nothing to me, and it probably means nothing to you, except for the fact I've seen them take a hammer these things, and you cannot break them. That's how durable these things are. You drop your glasses and scratch them, break them. You don't do that with Breakline. These things are built to last. BreaklineOptics.com is the website. BreaklineOptics.com. Lightweight, durable glasses that they stand behind, and this is an Alabama company. Local guys with a national company, and it's taken the nation by storm. Fishermen love them. Golfers love them. Ladies love them. They've got it all for you at BreaklineOptics.com. If you want to see them and touch them for yourself, head over to Deep South Outfitters in Birmingham. If you're in the Birmingham area, they carry them. But you can see everything online. BreaklineOptics.com. That is BreaklineOptics.com. Go to your cupboard, get a little pepper jelly. I got lamb on the menu here in a second. I got a Clint Lamb quote for you coming from CoverCrimson.com on Alabama recruiting. Bless Forrester's heart, because we build this show 24/7. I mean, something pops in my mind, I'll send him a text on something. So last night I'm like, God, Alabama didn't get this recruit. Alabama didn't get this recruit. Alabama didn't get this recruit. And I'm sending him stuff, and he walked in today and he's like, you remember that list, Jim, of the 5 stars you said Alabama was in the mix for? That all the guys at On3 Sports and others have said Alabama's in the mix for? All the ones you were panicking over last night, none of those guys were. I was like, I thought the whole list committed to somewhere else yesterday. He goes, nope. Here's the list. You remember a few weeks on the show, 5 stars trending to Alabama from On3 Sports. Those 4 guys, none of them committed yesterday. I do have where they're leaning right now, though, for you. Wide receiver Cedarian Morgan, the 11th best player in the upcoming class, is down to Alabama or Auburn in that mix. Xavier Griffin, the linebacker, the 8th best player in the upcoming recruiting class, likely 100% Alabama, according to folks at 24/7 and On3. Xavier Crowell, the 4th best player. He's a 4-star in some, 5 in others. He is not really leaning anywhere yet. And then Jairi Edwards is a big Georgia lean right now as a 5-star guy. I do that as a backdrop because yesterday was eventful. Let's run through some of the commitments yesterday. Big guy, 4-star Kamari Brooks yesterday, 4-star edge guy from Buford, Georgia. I thought he's going to go to Bama. Ended up going to Georgia there. So that's one that Alabama was second on, according to the folks at On3 Sports. Next up, you have Xavier Tiller, big 4-star tight end. Picks Florida State over Alabama and Auburn there. Alabama was in the mix for that big tight end. 4-star, let's go next to 4-star defensive lineman Titan Davis. That's from his St. name? Louis. Titan Davis? That's yes. a fantastic name. Yeah, it'd been better name if he'd gone to Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Why?
He picks Michigan.
Titan Davis is a fantastic name.
Michigan over Alabama. And I didn't expect 4-star athlete Roman Voss
to leave Minnesota and come to Alabama. He picked Minnesota over Alabama. Sometimes I think you just throw Alabama on there.
Minnesota?
He goes. He's from Minnesota.
Alabama ever had a player from Minnesota? I don't think they have.
He's going to go to Minnesota. Before I give you the Clint Lamb the bite here, I will point out that Alabama got a few flips yesterday. We told you on the show about Jamari Barnett, the 4-star running back, flipping from Illinois. They get Kelly, the 3-star safety, flips from Rutgers to Alabama yesterday, a 3-star safety, probably because the Jairi Edwards guy, safety, 5-star guy, likely going to go to Georgia. All that panic. And then Clint Lamb on covercrimson.com, cut one, Tyler, explaining to us what really is going on. Salary cap issues, not issues. Not issues.
Okay.
Not issues. Salary cap is what you've got to do now. And he explains to us why Alabama may be getting some of these 3-stars they like as opposed to just fishing for 5 and 4 stars. Here's Clint Lamb yesterday.
I think people right now with the 3-stars, they're not really understanding the purpose behind it. I think when you've got a set amount of money that you can spend, you've got to go about it one of two ways. You have your priority guys there at the top that you're going to be willing to set aside a chunk of money to pay them. Alabama doesn't get into the NIL game as far as the highest bidder. They don't do that. They evaluate. They make other types of pitches. They are strong. They are competitive in the NIL area. But that is not what they want to be the primary. I think that's smart roster building. I think it's great culture building. But to balance what you're kind of giving some of those guys, you've got to have phenomenal evaluation. You've got to be able to go out and get what I would view as guys who are maybe not viewed as highly. They're a little bit cheaper, obviously, where you can kind of balance and manage. And if you can hit on those players, this is where I think Kalen DeBoer and this staff, their experience at Washington, this is the types of players they had to go out there and get. And then you had to develop them if you wanted to be a national championship contender. They weren't recruiting on the level of Michigan or Alabama or Ohio State. They were getting some good players, but relative to the other national championship contenders, it took development, which is why I love this staff.
Okay, a lot there. Not necessarily the highest bidder on all these players. Have to get some of these well-evaluated 3-stars so that you can afford some of the 5-stars at the top. At Washington, I agree with him there. They had to build their national championship runner-up team differently than Alabama, Georgia, Michigan, and Ohio State did. But when you hear that, with Alabama's tradition, how do you walk away from that soundbite feeling?
I just think it's fascinating that Alabama is still able to recruit at this high level with not having the crazy ability to pay the $40 million that some of these other teams are doing right now. And, my concern if I was an Alabama fan coming out of the spring was how many people are going to leave, and nobody left. So whatever money they've got, they're making it work. So they're doing a really good job with it. I do agree with Clint on as far as developing these guys. If you can get them to stay put, which Kalen DeBoer has done a pretty good job with, you saw what he was able to develop from Fresno to Washington, and he's got a better type of athlete in Tuscaloosa.
If this is the way they were doing it last year, I just looked at On3. They finished third in recruiting last year, so it's a pretty good strategy, I guess.
And I don't know how you're doing that, because I would think now, like the Alabama brand, it still matters. So I don't want to really discount that. But I do think more so it's highest bidder now. That's the way it seems to me.
I would say, like, any school, this is beyond Alabama, but if you're going to take that strategy where you're like, we're going to build, and this is a very NFL strategy, right? We're going to have some stars, but we know, you guys watch enough NFL to know where you really, really, really win Super Bowls. You got to have a good quarterback. That's paramount to winning a Super Bowl. You got to have a good quarterback. You got to have some stars. But what really wins a Super Bowl is positions 20 through 40 on your NFL roster, right?
Yeah. I'd go 10 through 40.
Okay,
Brown,
10 through 40.
Because you don't have 19 superstars.
Yeah. So 10 through 40 is where you really win the Super Bowl. Who's got the best 10 through 40? That's where you're going to find your offensive linemen. That's where you're going to find, your linebackers, your non-stars, but they are really, really good players, and you've evaluated them properly, and you're paying them in line. And this is a very NFL model. But I would say this, much like in the NFL, if you're going to do it that way, you cannot miss on the star. Like used to when Alabama was recruiting, and they would get all the 5 stars. If they missed on a couple, it didn't matter because they had a bunch of them. But if you're going to say, all right, we're going to spend our money, Lance, on these 3 5 stars. These are the ones we're going after. Boy, you better not miss. And if you miss, it better be one.
Yep.
Because if you miss on all 3 of them, that's a lot of money you've spent on missed guys. I mean, it really, more than ever, magnifies talent evaluation.
Yeah, because, in the NFL, you really don't miss on you miss on a free agent here and there, but if you sign 3 really good free agents, typically 2 are going to pan out.
Without injury, you're going to be okay. Where you miss is in the draft in the NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what the recruiting is, this version of the draft.
That's
I mean,
right.
I've seen them play in high schoschool. Boy, they were good in high school.
5-star guys are your first-round picks.
That's right.
And those are the guys you hope you have a superstar.
And the NFL, they've got the best Italian talent evaluators that live, and they can't get it right.
Right.
So college guys sure aren't going to get it right every time either.
Yeah. Just interesting on how you have to do it now. And Courtney Morgan, who's the general manager in charge of laying this all out, Clint picking the brain of what's going on inside the general manager's office there. It's fascinating how you do it now and how you spend your money and how you attack it.
I hate to do this to Scout on the fly. Could we quickly go back to the Minnesota kid, the graphic that Hayes Fawcett, because this might be the most aggressive recruiting graphic I have ever seen. White kid to Minnesota holding a Heisman Trophy.
Yeah.
I mean, that one is – that's a bold one right there, man.
When you brought up nobody from Alabama has ever come from Minnesota,
Yeah.
I just had to pull Joe Mauer. You guys remember the Minnesota Twin grade?
They did not play at Alabama.
No, but I just remember him being a 3-sport kind of legend in Minnesota because I remember Florida State getting a verbal from him to play quarterback.
Yeah.
Because he was the National Player of the Year in football and baseball. But I didn't realize that in baseball his senior year, he hit .605. He hit 7 home runs, or he hit a home run in 7 consecutive games, and he only struck out 1 time his senior year.
1 time?
Yeah.
Wow. That is an impressive senior year. 1 strikeout's crazy. Is he also holding a lightsaber, Jim?
He is in the bottom picture.
So we've got a recruiting graphic of a kid going to Minnesota holding a Heisman Trophy and a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Why is the lightsaber going to the ground?
That is a
like
great
that?
question. I didn't think you did that with a lightsaber.
Is that a lightsaber, Forrester, going to the ground? Is that what that is? Mike's on.
Yeah.
That does, I don't know. It's like he's using a lightsaber as a walking stick.
So it's like an old man lightsaber?
Yeah.
I mean, that's an aggressive recruiting.
Is it a
recruiting
flashlight
poster.
really looking for his Alabama offer? Did I really have an Alabama offer?
I mean, guys holding a
just
Heisman, Jim.
Yeah.
And a lightsaber.
You know how you wouldn't let your teenage daughter walk out wearing a certain something?
Yeah,
if she-
yeah.
You would
Yeah,
be
yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know, my kid on his recruiting, I would be like, you're not holding a Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, well, you may hold it, but we're not going to use it in your your recruiting picture. You'll hold a lightsaber, but not a Heisman.
One more recruiting thing here in this opening segment. It has to do with Auburn. I just showed you some flips that Alabama got, and Auburn lost one yesterday, and or 2 days ago, and they lost another one yesterday. That is starting to raise concerns, like with our buddy Justin Hokanson, who covers the Auburn Tigers. 4-star wide receiver Devin Carter flips from Auburn to Florida State yesterday. His dad played at Florida State, was a big-time running back down there for them. But he had been committed to Auburn since January. That's a flip to Florida State yesterday. Brown, you were telling me that that's just more talent out of what was this Auburn recruiting class that was off to a good start. And I saw Zach and Brad Law talk about this on the barnauburn.com yesterday, how this time last year, the Hugh Freeze recruiting conversation was totally different than it is this June, where it seems to be losing some talent.
Well, as Hoke pointed out, Justin Hokanson tweeted this time last week, and he showed the graphic. Auburn was 13th according to On3. So I was
this time last week.
This time 3 weeks ago. I'm sorry.
3 weeks
Excuse
ago.
me. Just 3 weeks ago. Could not have messed that up more. Just 3 weeks ago, Auburn was 13th according to On3. I think they are in the 60s now.
I had them at 62 yesterday.
Yeah. 62. That's a pretty big drop. Now, here's what's happened. Anytime something like this happens, what do people start focusing on? Everything, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's like, why are we not recruiting well? Why are we not recruiting well? Did you guys see what was floating around yesterday? I saw people saying it was because of Hugh's health.
Nope.
Hugh's job status.
Nope.
And the fact that Hugh was, they have bigger recruits that are coming in.
That's not what's floating around yesterday.
Those were the three I saw.
Hugh Freeze's handicap.
Oh, no.
Yep, that's what was
Bet
floating
it's
around.
not as good as Trent Dilfer's.
No, Dilfer's got a better one. I looked just for you yesterday, Lance, when I was looking this up. Let me pull up Hugh's handicap here.
Can I guess what Hugh's handicap is?
Sure.
I'm going to say we're going by USGA standards.
Now, this is the GHIN.
Okay, I'm going to go 4.1.
I was going to go a little lower. I was going to go 2.8.
7.4. So Hugh's playing at a 7 right now. So y'all aren't giving him enough shots. But what everybody was pointing out.
By the way, do you sandbag that a little bit being a head coach?
Well, and I'll get to that in a moment.
By the way,
so
if he
I
is
think
he
I would.
entering these on a public forum that you can see everywhere he plays?
I'll get to that in a moment.
Because like you can go look. Mine's public. You can go look at every time I play around a golf. You can go to the app and look me up on if you follow on the Grint.
But this is what happens when you start to struggle recruiting. People are like, wait a minute, Hugh Freeze has entered 10 scores in the month of June.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
And recruiting's falling apart. And I am amazed by people that do not realize that the handicap app is public information. Like, I can look up anybody's handicap. You guys throw me a name, I can look it up if I know their name and where they live, which is amazing to me. Like, people don't know that's a public
So can
app.
you get Nick Saban's?
Sure.
Would it be
What do you
Jupiter,
get?
Florida?
if he's entering them, though, I mean,
Most guys enter their scores.
That's the
Saban,
thing.
Alabama.
Like if I was
Nick
a head
Saban
coach, I
and-
mean, with Nick Saban now, he's probably a 13.
Nick Saban is a 10.6. Now, he has not entered a score. Well, this is an old one because he hasn't entered a score since 2023.
yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. If you're in Hugh's position,
Let me see if he's got
I
one in
would not
Florida,
be
though.
entering scores.
you do not enter the score.
I go out there to get away, decompress a little bit, but I am not putting those scores because the last thing you want is to go 5-7 again, and your handicap
Bingo.
continues to go down.
Yeah.
Bingo.
And they're able to go, man, you played 4 times down on the Gulf Coast yesterday. You played 3 times in Auburn.
We
No, I mean,
laugh
it's-
about it, but we had multiple people. Like,
Oh.
we see Trent Dilfer on the tee box all of the time.
Played 36 yesterday at Vestavia.
Yeah, and like his golf.
That's not, he didn't play yesterday.
yeah.
I'm just saying that's what they were telling us last year.
I bet he did.
He did come on here when we interviewed him and said that coaching UAB was so easy because he's got all this time to play golf now.
Less time
Yeah.
than it was a high school coach. That's
Right.
what he told us, which is a baffling thing to say. But a buddy of mine texted me and he's like, hey, I'll tell you a story. He said, I don't know if you've seen the Hugh Freeze handicap story. I was like, oh, yeah, 100% I have. And he said, a good friend of mine is a CEO, was at the time a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. And he said, dude played a lot of golf. And he said, I told him, the handicap app is public information, right? So he changed his name in the app. And he said, I swear to you, like 1 month later, the Wall Street Journal did an article on the Fortune 500 CEOs with the lowest handicaps or the most rounds played or something. He goes, he's 100% on that list if he hadn't
wow.
changed his name.
Oh, wow.
And he goes, he changed his name in the app, so he's not on the list.
God, he should tip that guy out for
I know.
saving his butt.
But like CEOs, if you're taking certain people to play
No,
golf.
I mean, it's legitimate until the stock price drops.
Yeah.
And then when the stock price drops, you're like, why is my
What about
CEO
you?
playing 20
well,
rounds
if he's
a year?
taking recruits, can you take recruits to play golf?
you
you
can do
could,
anything
I
now,
doubt.
but you can take high school coaches.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the case, I find that hard to believe.
But my
though.
point is, nobody paid attention to Nick Saban's handicap. Nobody.
No.
Nobody
No.
cared if Nick Saban's handicap was scratch or 38. Nobody cared.
Just assume he didn't play, but
Well,
one
look, if he
month out
did,
of the year.
if he did, what do I care?
I've been in sales all my life, and when you are crushing it, nobody cares where you are or
Bingo.
what you're doing.
And that's my whole point. This is just what happens when you're 5-7, when recruits start flipping elsewhere. They get hypercritical of everything.
That's right. Terry Bowden going to see James Taylor.
Terry Bowden helicoptering in on a game week to see James Taylor at Oak Mountain.
100%. By the way, I got a 12:50 tee time today, so that's why I gave you such an awesome opening segment of college football information there. Brought to you in part by our friends at Twin Peaks. LT, tell us about the Peaks.
Twin Peaks, great place to go watch a little Major League Baseball and just sit back, relax, and enjoy happy hour. Nobody does happy hour like our friends at Twin Peaks. Whatever your preference is, they've got everything from tequila cocktails, extensive bourbon category to top shelf spirits, cocktails served over the ice balls, local craft beers, handcrafted whiskey cocktails round out that adventurous drink menu second to none. And don't forget about the 29-degree drafts right there at Twin Peaks in 3D. Twin Peaks girls running all over the place. Stop into one of those locations for lunch or dinner, happy hour. It's all going on at Twin Peaks.
Our guy Alexander Shunnarah, Birmingham born, Birmingham bred. It is his community, and he wants to make sure his community is taken care of. That's why his headquarters, they could be anywhere. They're right here in Birmingham. 24 years, this firm has grown to 150 lawyers, supported by more than 500 dedicated team members. They have not forgotten Birmingham along the way. They have recorded more than $2 billion in settlements and case decisions, maintaining core values of integrity, mastery, passion, and success. That's what Alexander's core values are. This great set of attorneys, they do tremendous work. So when you find yourself in need of a lawyer, call the Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys. You pay nothing unless they win your case. Shunnarah.com, Shunnarah.com.
Follow LT on Twitter at @TheLanceTaylor.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090. Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
No matter the occasion, the Next Round store has you covered with whatever you need. Head over to nextround.store and start filling your cart up now. When you wear your gear, make sure to let us know by posting on socials, and you might just end up seeing yourself during a commercial break. Go browse now at nextround.store and place your order before the break ends.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between 2 warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Okay, we're about to get to our 40 and 40 team, which is a statistical anomaly when it comes to me doing these preseason rankings. I've never seen this before, but of course we've only had 1 year of the 12-team playoff. This is a crazy stat I'll get to in a second, but first some of your reaction from the chat room, and a couple of things we talked about early on was the ranked versus ranked, or the SEC versus ranked opponents, the winners and losers there over the last 5 years, and then the recruiting, what Clint Lamb had to say about how Alabama's attacking recruiting. What are some of the best comments, Brownie, so far?
TG says Jyree Edwards is a Bama lean yesterday, had no effect on Jyree. Texas and Ohio State have a ton of 3 stars, so they are doing the same thing Alabama is doing, according to him. They could be doing that same thing. Missouri, Rusty says, the only SEC team lower than Auburn in recruiting right now in the recruiting rankings. I will take his word for that. I did see Missouri yesterday was quite low. Seems like it'd be tough to recruit.
Yeah, I think it is tough to recruit there. That's why you got to give Drinkwitz a lot of credit, because he's done a good job at developing players.
They actually had a advantage in the old NIL, that brief window before we got to this point in the NIL. When we started the NIL, they were able to do something in the state of Missouri that allowed them a little bit of an NIL advantage. I forget what it was, but I think in Missouri it allowed them to offer state high school players or something like that NIL money before they got on campus. It was something weird. They had an advantage.
Keith says nobody has lost anything. These commitments mean nothing. Bobby says Hugh has posted 10 scores in the last month. Too much golf for Hugh. Bobby is an Auburn fan. I don't know if that's tongue-in-cheek or if he's saying the
has it literally been 10 in a month, the last month, or 10 in June?
10 in June, which today's the 24th.
That's every other day. That's a lot of golf.
It's not every other day.
It is. It's 10 of 14 days, 10 of 13 as of yesterday.
It's the 24th of June.
That's 10 days he played, 13 he didn't.
Yeah.
It's almost every day.
It's every
like
other
my
day.
movie schedule.
I mean, that's excessive.
Yeah.
I play so much more than that.
Well, you do, but you're not an SEC coach.
Yeah. I mean,
Kevin says it's always fans of teams who are losing commits that say losing commits doesn't matter.
That is true. I just want to see how many I have in June.
Do you post every score?
I do. I do. Trying to bail brother
Do you think
Hugh out here.
Will you hit 20 times in June?
Well, you had a lot of rain, Jim.
Well, we're not going to get any, though, for the next week.
I know. It's pretty dry right now.
Of course, I did out of nowhere last night. Did you hear that thunderstorm
I did.
break?
I was sitting out on my screened in, and I'd already watered my sod, and I'm just sitting there enjoying the night there.
But I don't think any rain came down.
It never did, but I was like, man, we cannot avoid the rain. Which I would have taken it then. That's a good night rain. I don't mind a good night rain.
I won't rain every 3 days. I'll take a night rain all night. I don't care about that, but during the day.
Walker says Dilfer is a .6 at Vestavia Country Club. That is correct. I did look at that yesterday.
So basically, he's scratch.
He's a scratch, yeah. You don't.
Wow.
Yeah. No, Dilfer can play.
Wow.
He goes on to say he's posted both a 66 and a 77. He's sandbagging. That's not true. A guy that could shoot a 66 can easily shoot a 77.
Oh, he didn't sandbag last year on the field. What were they? Were they 2 and 10 or was it 3 and 9?
They were sandbagged. He's sandbagged on the road so far. They haven't won a road game in 2 years.
I don't see how Hughes played that much.
Jim, he's got 10 rounds he's posted in June.
It's rained so much. I've only played 5 days in June. 5 rounds.
So Freeze has played double what you've played.
He must be playing somewhere.
Well, they don't have an indoor course.
But he must be playing somewhere where it's summer.
No, do you have his handicap up? Does it say H or A? H is a home. That means it's
I don't
an
have
Auburn.
his up. You're the one saying, Bobby's the one saying he played 10. I played 5. And I feel like I play a lot.
Here, I'll tell you.
There is no way you won't. Well, I guess with the rain.
In June, I mean, I played one time in 10 days because of the rain here. It rained so much.
And you'll play today?
Oh, yeah.
Will you play tomorrow?
I got games for Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and one of the weekend. 4 of the next 6 days for sure.
Every one of Hugh Freeze's June scores are at his home course. He's got some away scores in May.
Must like playing in the mud.
Again, I'm just saying this is what fans start to say.
Yeah.
I think a coach ought to be able to play all the golf he wants.
Oh my God, they can't work all the time.
No, but it gets magnified when you start to lose.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're getting paid $10 million, and you're a sub 500 coach, but you're playing golf every other day, that's a problem.
Let's play the game we call the 40 and 40 countdown. Before we get to that, tell us about Bojangles, Brownie, where you can roll into some good food fast and easy to go.
That's right. It can be bow time for you with those great chicken tenders. You like a good dipping sauce and a tender to go with it. Boy, does Bojangles have a great deal for you. Sweet to heat. They've got 7 sauces that definitely add a little extra flavor to every bite. Nothing pairs better with the sauces than hand-branded tenders. So if you're looking for sweet, try honey mustard. You want some tang, try barbecue. You want some heat, try creamy buffalo or peach honey pepper. If you're craving smooth and creamy, try the house-made ranch, jalapeno ranch, or classic bow sauce. Head to Bojangles, order some hand-breaded tenders with your favorite sauce today. Try breakfast, too. Somebody asked in the chat room, and I meant to respond yesterday. I got the Bowberry biscuit with the Cajun chicken filet on it and the cinnamon glaze. It is freaking phenomenal. Like cinnamon roll glaze. It's not cinnamon glaze, but it's the glaze that goes on like the Bowberry biscuit. Phenomenal. That's what I had. I was talking about the other day. At Bojangles, it's bow time.
And I got a way to work the Bojangles off.
I needed that.
Champions Boxing for fitness and competition, all ages starting at 9 years old. Me and Jack, we're doing it for a couple of months. Jack unfortunately injures the knee. He's going to be on the shelf for a little bit. But if you're looking for that unique workout, you can actually get out there. 8 USA boxing certified coaches, not only in boxing, but strength and conditioning. Coaches have experience at the amateur, professional, Olympic levels. Anyone looking for a workout different than just throwing up weights, come check them out. Located in Pelham behind the Purple Onion, on Instagram at Champions Boxing AL, on Facebook at Champions Boxing AL, the official sports boxing coordinator for the 2025 World Police and Fire Games held in Birmingham next month. Our friends at Champions Boxing.
And Champions 40 and 40 countdown, one team every show, gets us to number 11. Right before we get to the top 10, the Fighting Illini of Illinois, the team, I think I was the first on the show to bring up their schedule and that they'd be the hot off-season team, and they are for everybody in at number 11. Here's the crazy part about this. They're number 11 in our rankings, but only Josh Sisk, Greg Glasscock, Wesley Helton, and Daniel Gilliland have them making the playoffs. After 45 voters, they're number 11 in our rankings.
How does that work?
But only four people have them in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
How does that work? How are they ranked 11th?
Because
everybody's got them 13th?
That's 11th, and you've got the Big 12 champion gets an auto bid. A group of 5 gets an auto bid, so they came in behind them, bumping that 11 slot. Illinois is our bubble team in our rankings that does not make the playoffs. They are on everybody's bubble except those 4 guys. Greg had them the highest at number 9. Josh and Wesley and Daniel each had them at 10. On the show, LT the highest at 12.
I got them too high.
Uh-oh. You regret it already.
Ryan Brown had him 14th.
I got him right.
Taylor Korn had him 16th. Scott Forrester had him 19th.
I feel like you think Forrester has him right.
No.
Oh.
Jim Dunaway has them not ranked in his top 25.
I think it might be Dunaway. Look, I think Bret Bielema has done a great job there. I think they're going to be a good team, but this is going to be Iowa from last year where everybody talks about returning starters. They talk about schedule. But the thing is, this schedule's not easy. You got a fifth-year quarterback in Luke Altmaier, a 3-year starter coming back. The offense was okay, but they only averaged 365 yards per game. Their defense was 14th in the Big Ten last year. They got a lot of fortuitous bounces, but now you miss Michigan, Oregon, and Penn State, but you go to Duke, which that game's virtually a pick. Same at Indiana, hosting USC. They're going to be big dogs at home against Ohio State, virtually a pick at Washington, virtually a pick at Wisconsin. I think they're going to be favored in 7, maybe 8 games, but I think 8-4 is probably your number for Illinois, and 8-4, I don't know if you're ranked.
I think they're out of the playoff race by the bye week. I mean, I think there are potentially 3 losses in the first half of that schedule.
Well, you got them at 14th.
I know, that's probably wrong.
I've got them way too high. The more I look at this, they lose to Duke week 2 in Durham.
I mean, it's not going to stun me. Duke obviously is reloaded at quarterback with a $5 million, some report, quarterback from Tulane. But I think at Duke, at Indiana, USC, Ohio State, there's easily 3 losses in that group of games.
Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon, USC, Nebraska, Michigan. I had 6 teams out of the Big Ten in my top 25. Mm-hmm. I think they come in at number 7. at best in the Big Ten. I think those 6 teams end up being better than them in the Big Ten.
Well, you think about how good they were last year. They were 5th in the Big Ten last year with 10 wins.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Coming off a 10-win season, which is why they're a sexy pick. A few of you have in the playoff, the bubble team for us. Walker Hayes asked this question, one of our voters. Would Lane Kiffin like to have Luke Altmaier back for this season, a 5th-year quarterback who was one time at Ole Miss, or would you rather have Austin Simmons? I think I would answer Walker by saying I think Lane's happy with Austin Simmons over Luke Altmaier.
I mean, the thing you would like about Luke is the experience, but if he was still in Oxford, he wouldn't have the experience.
It's a great
That's
point.
a good point,
It'd be the same
Lance.
situation. He wasn't going to play over Jackson Dart, so it would be Austin Simmons all over again. And watching Luke Altmaier, although he has developed and gotten better, he's not an elite quarterback. Austin Simmons is at least got that potential.
Yeah. This Illinois team is going to be fascinating to watch. They get a lot of TV games early on. You see some early picks on some of the TV slot windows, and I think they're projecting them to have a couple of big games, whether it's on, in the mix for a big noon kickoff or in the mix for some big primetime games.
Well, I would say certainly USC coming there would be a big noon kick candidate, because the big noon doesn't get to show USC a lot because they don't get to do USC home games. And then Ohio State's always a big noon kick candidate. We can ask Klatt. He's coming on at 11. So maybe Klatt will tip his hand on that. But anytime they get a chance to show USC, I'm sure they're going to try to do it.
Illinois was one of those teams, you watched them last year. I mean, their margin for error was 0. They won every game they really shouldn't have won. They were 5-1 in one-possession games. And you just wonder, you get a bad break here or there if it goes the other way. And instead of being 5-1, then you're 2-4, and that's how your record drops to 8-4.
Do you guys know? Last year they had a 10-win season. Do you know their last 10-win season before that? Do you know offhand?
I would say Ron Turner in 2001.
I was going to say when Zook took him to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, Juice Williams maybe in 2000.
That wasn't even a 10-win season. Ron Turner.
Was it
Lance
2001?
was right. 2001 when they lost to LSU in the Sugar Bowl. No, to put that in perspective, the last time they had a 10-win season, Ron Turner lost to Nick Saban as the LSU coach in the Sugar Bowl. That's the last time they had a 10-win season prior to last year.
Was
with Bret
Zook
Bielema.
before or after that?
Zook was after that, but he didn't get 10 wins. That was a 9-win season.
He went to the Rose Bowl with 9 wins?
Weird year in the Big Ten. I
No,
can't remember.
it really, I mean, last year was extremely strange because Indiana had their first ever 10-win season. Illinois got another 10-win season. Teams like USC couldn't win tight games, go 7-6.
Yeah, that Zook team was 9-4. They finished second in the Big Ten. That was 2007, though. So the Big Ten champ was either on probation or went to a different bowl game than the Rose because of some sort of national championship agreement, BCS agreement.
That's champions 40-40 today. Illinois at number 11. Top 10 here on out, as we're 10 shows away starting tomorrow from SEC Media Days, which I think is only 19 days away, real days away, counting weekends and holidays away. Not that far from Atlanta, and SEC Media Days as the college football conversation continues here on the show, being brought to you in part today by our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. UCA, helping you stay healthy, guys. Early detection, so important when it comes to your prostate health. They help you at Urology Centers of Alabama. When you move from your 20s to your 30s and so forth, stay on top of your health by calling and setting an appointment, and then staying on top of those appointments year after year at one of the great 16 locations of Urology Centers of Alabama. 205-930-0920. Prostate health, kidney stones, vasectomies, they'll do it all for you. Find a location near you. Make that appointment. Get details at urologycentersalabama.com. urologycentersalabama.com. Before we get to our viewing menu and Clay Travis today, I've told you a couple of times now about the guy, but Cal Raleigh did it again last night. He had another home run. He's got 32 home runs in 76 games. He's in a home run in 6 home runs in the last 6 games, averaging a home run a game in the last 6. He's the first to 30 in 75 games since Barry Bonds. I told you that yesterday. He broke Johnny Bench's 55-year catcher's record of having more home runs before the All-Star break than Johnny Bench, who had that record forever. Back in 1998, that year.
By the way, I would put his over-under at 51.5 right now.
51.5.
And he's at 32 before the halfway mark.
Yep.
Yeah. He's at 32 right now with 19 more games to go before the All-Star break. In 1998, that summer we all loved of the home run chase with McGuire and Sosa, at the All-Star break, McGuire had 37. This kid's got 32 now with 19 games to play.
And he's hitting one every other game on average.
Sosa had 33 at the All-Star break. Did you guys forget that there was another person that had 35 at the All-Star break that year that wasn't McGuire and Sosa?
Was it Rodriguez? Alex Rodriguez?
No. Was it?
I did forget that, yeah.
Oh, the guy for the, was it Gonzalez from Texas?
It was Ken Griffey Jr.
Oh, he got hurt, I'm sure.
I'm sure he did, but 37, 35, and 33 at the break. Raleigh's on pace to get into that conversation. And he's got a nickname that he got in the minor leagues. And they had a bobblehead earlier this year because he's a gold glove multiple times, platinum glove they call him now. Big Dumper was his nickname in college, given to him by his teammates because as a catcher, he has a massive dump truck in that backyard there.
Okay.
And they actually did this bobblehead doll earlier this year in Seattle, the Platinum Dumper.
Wow. I thought he could tear up a bathroom, so that is a much better explanation. Yeah.
So that's Cal Raleigh, who continues to be a star in this game. Not the best bobblehead out there, though, this year. Still to come in San Diego.
So does the ass shake on the bobblehead instead of the head?
It's like, same thing.
It twerks.
It doesn't. But in the best bobblehead out there is movement. Fernando Tatis,
that's
known
good.
for his bat flips. That's coming to the Padres bobblehead coming up here
I like
soon.
that one.
Look at that one right there.
That's better than your normal
What
bobblehead.
is the uni he's wearing there? Is that a sponsor?
I think that's their city.
Oh, is that...
That's their city unis.
Yeah, those are bad. I hate those uniforms. Why don't you do a bobblehead in the city?
The Serve Pro is down at the bottom, sponsorship, LT.
Yeah,
you see that logo. You got to get that on there.
No, but I think that's Serve Pro colors, is it not? You sure that's not a Serve Pro jersey?
I mean, it's...
I don't know. Is it for
It says San Diego.
Yeah, that's. I think that's their City Connect.
Oh, God, those are bad.
That's what I thought.
Terrible
Serve Pro down at the
uniforms.
bottom there. But the bat flip there is the key to that story.
That's a good one. I like that one.
All right, let's get to the viewing menu brought to you by our friends at Michelson Laser Vision.
205-969-8100. Dial that number. Ask for Amy Toe. The next round sent you. She's going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation. I got the procedure done in 2003. 2015 vision, better than 2020. Make the phone call that I made. 205-969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business. Conveniently located UAB Highlands. For more information, 205-969-8100 or michelsonlaservision.com.
We got a new Netflix release today. They've been doing this series of documentaries called Trainwreck. They did one on the Travis Scott Astrofest concert.
Did you watch that?
I didn't watch that. I've seen enough content from that.
Forrester told me about
It's
it.
been done to death.
I was not going to watch it until Forrester said watch it, so I watched it. It's maddening. Like, I just can't imagine if you were there or you had a kid
a loved
there.
one, yeah.
Oh my God!
So many people dropped the ball on that whole deal.
Well, there was one couple that brought their 7-year-old kid.
Oh no!
Which that's
that
just
was
a
probably
bad
a bad
decision.
idea to begin
Well,
with.
I think
Terrible
the youngest was 9. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, something like
Forrester.
that.
Yeah, I mean it was awful.
Well, they're continuing that series with Trainwreck Poop Cruise. A luxury cruise turns disastrous when an engine fire cuts power to the entire ship. 4,000 passengers face failing systems, sewage leaks, food shortages, which sparks passenger unrest and media coverage, calling it the Poop Cruise.
Yeah, I don't know who gets worse pub than cruises.
They do, don't they?
From what we saw with COVID to this documentary coming out. I mean, do you want to go on a cruise?
I've never wanted to before, but I have never seen anything after that makes me change my mind. In fact, it's only grown stronger. I did not want to do a cruise before. I don't want to do one even more now.
I don't want to be in that enclosed space
I don't
with
either.
that many people.
I'm with you.
That
you can't control who you're with.
That's right. I'd much rather have freedom to roam.
Well, and
Exactly.
there's so many different factors that can go wrong.
Yep.
Whether it's, I saw the trailer for this. The power goes out, and then it's like everything goes wild.
Yep, it looks absolutely bizarre. That releases on Netflix tonight. And then we've also got a new release from Max. They have added it to their platform. It is a movie that Tim and I were talking about last week when we did our mystery unboxing. Stars Johnny Depp and Christian Bale. It's Public Enemies, the story of John Dillinger and his bank robbing gang.
Last time I threw up, December 26th. Seriously, of
that movie?
Yeah, December 26th,
97.
No, it wasn't 97. Oh my God, why am I forgetting this now?
I thought it was 2003.
That movie came out in 2010 or 2011. Somewhere around
Yeah,
there.
that's what it was. It was December 26th of 2010.
Yeah, and that movie made you throw up.
No. I had just gone to a local sandwich shop downtown Homewood. It was
That
a
made
rough
you
night
throw
the
up.
night before.
Yes,
I came
gotcha.
back and I threw up those sandwiches. Yeah, but I remember I was watching Public Enemies. I didn't think it was that good. Have you seen it?
I have seen it. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. Like, not as good as some of the other more well-known mob movies, but when I watched it, I was just confused as to how this one also didn't make its way into the conversation as far as like crime movies to watch.
Yeah, it was actually 2009. I've not thrown up since we've been doing
That's
the
a
show.
good run.
Yeah.
And then finally on Tubi, they have added a classic cheesy movie, Big Trouble in Little China, starring Kurt Russell.
I still never seen it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a lot of fun.
I'll tell you where I saw a clip though on Instagram today from what was the Beaver Zombie or whatever on Tubi.
Zombievers.
Yeah, I saw one clip from it. Girl opens the shower and it jumps out and bites her.
Yeah, of course.
And that's all I got today.
Beaver on Beaver crime.
That's our Michelson viewing menu with Clay Travis coming up on the other side. He'll join us for his weekly visit. That's on the other side. Brought to you by our friends at Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
Follow Brownie on Twitter and Instagram at Ryan Brown Live.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service. Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on the next round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at the next round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
Looking to expand your business? Let the Next Round help you. Contact us, sales@nextroundlive.com, and be part of the team. Advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential customers on our ever-expanding platforms. The Next Round can take your business to the next level. Join our existing partners in the fastest-growing media space, both live and on demand, while reaching the most desirable audience for your business. Get more information by emailing sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to build a plan to take your business to the next level using the Next Round.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Since you listened to my last message so well and got rid of those cargo shorts and stained t-shirts, it's time to replace them with Rhoback. Go to Rhoback.com and click on the Refresh collection to find all that you need for an EG-approved wardrobe. It includes pieces that will have you ready to hit the golf course after a busy day of meetings or comfy favorites for travel and working from home. Get 20% off using code TNR20. See, I'm saving you some money.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between two warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Going to our buddy Clay Travis right after LT tells you about Odie's, where great food awaits you for lunch, but also trivia tomorrow night.
Yeah, tomorrow night, Odie's Team Trivia. We do it every Wednesday, the original location in Crestline. Come out, join us, get there a little early, enjoy the great food from Rodney Davis. Been doing it for almost 4 decades now. The award-winning wings, delicious burgers, great sandwiches, ice-cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light. Birmingham Institution, 2 locations, the original Crestline, newest location in Edgewood. It's Odie's Tavern.
Clay Travis is the founder of Outkick. You also see him on Fox and social media at Clay Travis. He joins us now on the Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys Hotline. Welcome in, Clay. How are you today?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Doing awesome. Thanks a lot. We will start with a story. I don't think it's a big deal, personally. But when coaches start to lose games and recruiting doesn't go the way the fans want to go, fans get hypercritical about everything. And yesterday, there were a group of fans that were complaining that Hugh Freeze plays too much golf. The reason they know this is Hugh posts his scores on the USGA Handicap Index, and that is public viewing. If you were a college football coach, would you post your scores publicly?
Probably not, but I'm also a really bad golfer. So I don't know if that would help or hurt me to be publishing them publicly. LT, I think, was my caddy a couple of years ago when I played with Kirby Smart, and he can attest to my game or the lack thereof when it comes to public golf. But I just wouldn't want, if I had a job like that, it doesn't surprise me in the plane tracking era. There are crazy obsessives, and I don't mean that in a negative way, sports fans, particularly in the SEC, that are going to be looking in minute detail for every single thing that a coach does on a day-to-day basis. And so I kind of would anticipate that would end up happening. How often is he playing? I don't even know. How often is he?
And it's not necessarily about the scores. He posted 10 rounds in June. And that was through the 23rd.
That's a lot of golf.
So basically he's playing every other day in June. Again, I got no problem whatsoever with it, but fans are bringing it up. And it's just, it's evidenced, Clay, nobody ever questioned Nick Saban. Nick Saban's handicap was public, too. Not one person ever brought up how many rounds he played.
More importantly, what about Trump? I mean, Trump plays all the time, doesn't he?
Yeah, does he post his scores?
No, but I mean, when Trump's playing because the media is going to follow him wherever he goes. Look, I don't begrudge anybody who's got a job that takes a lot of hours, and it does. I guess you can go back and look. I'm going to bet that Hugh Freeze isn't posting any golf rounds in August, September, October, November during football season. I'm betting.
Okay, let me pull that up because that would be amazing.
That seems highly unlikely.
Well, I can only go back to April because it's your last 20 scores, so I don't have that. But even if you're winning every game, I can't foresee a college football coach posting a score in September or October.
Yeah, and look, I guess my biggest take on this is these guys can do a lot of what they do from the golf course, and by which I mean they can text recruits. I mean, when I played with Kirby back, in our 5-hour round or whatever, I mean, he was on his phone, texting recruits between holes, all these different things. So, look, I think ultimately what this comes back to is if you aren't winning at an incredibly high level, fans are going to find whatever they want to find to suggest why that is the case, and that you aren't engaged enough, or that you aren't working hard enough, or whatever else. I don't think there's very many SEC football coaches that aren't working super hard. I mean that honestly. I think that's a job that requires an incredible amount of work relative to other jobs. So I would never point to that and say, oh, I think the reason why this guy is not winning enough, or the reason the guy's losing is because he's not working hard enough. I think that's virtually unheard of to be the reason that a coach does or does not win, based on my experience.
Just quick AI search real quick. Conservative political commentator Clay Travis often criticizes President Barack Obama over vacation time during his time in the White House.
Is that actually say that on AI?
Oh, 100%. Clay Travis has been on vacation himself while discussing Obama's vacation on his current show.
That's terrific. Yeah, Clay, I'm doing a show for the beach.
But you're not the president.
I don't even remember ever commenting on, I mean, in all seriousness, I don't remember commenting on Barack Obama's vacation time at all. I definitely commented on Joe Biden being on the beach for 45% of whatever his presidency was. But look, I mean, I think I kind of speak for this. I mean, I'm going to have been on the road from Memorial Day until through the 4th of July, all over the place, and I will have done my shows almost every day. And obviously manage Outkick and everything else. So, the technology is such that, I mean, I'm sure there's guys watching us right now that, some of the most successful business people in, your home market of Birmingham probably spend their whole summer or fall at Orange Beach or Gulf Shores or 30A, and are every bit as efficient, if not more efficient, from there. Look, I think ultimately you get judged on your performance no matter what you do. And if you are on the borderline of whether you're going to have a job or not, you probably should not be doing things that give people reason to question how committed you are to the job that you're doing. But I will say, I would imagine Hugh Freeze playing a lot of golf in June and July, because it's like the only time that he can get out and actually manage to golf. So
in fairness
I don't
to
know
Clay,
how,
in fairness to Clay,
Yeah.
I do want to point out that it does cost taxpayers about $10 million a year when the president goes on vacation. So any vacation time, it's a hefty price, because they just can't go on vacation like we do. I mean, it costs a lot to protect them. So
I'm going to throw a flag. I'm going to throw a flag on AI here. I don't think I've ever criticized Obama's vacation time. I'm going to challenge AI to come up with a criticism of mine about Obama. Biden, yes. But otherwise, I don't think. Look, are we really? Biden couldn't do the job anywhere. Like the guy's the most physically and mentally incompetent president in the history of the United States, and even Democrats now are like, yeah, that was true. We lied about it. So I don't even know, is there anybody in the audience that would argue Biden's anything other than physically or mentally incompetent? But that was a reflection of his physical and mental incompetence. Not his ability to do the job.
Clay, how is it going with the offer?
On vacation, that is.
The offer you've got out there for Angel Reese, $100,000 if she can beat you to 21. She's only making less than $75,000 her WNBA salary. If I listed this, I would make her a 16.5-point favorite to 21. I think she would
absolutely 15.
Okay. Well, then I will.
You think she would beat me?
She would smoke you. Yes. Look, and I'm one of those that. We got a men's league team together where half our guys were smoking at halftime when we played the UAB women's team. I get what you're saying, but man, you're old and she's really young and she's a lot bigger. She's in better shape. I don't see a path to victory for you.
I don't think she can shoot. I think I am a better shooter than Angel Reese.
I don't know if you can get a shot off over her.
Yeah, that's the thing.
She's tall.
Yeah, she's 6'3", and her nails make her like 6'5".
I don't think she actually moves that well. I don't think. Now, if she had the ball at the 3-point line, right? We're playing typical, 1v1, right, where you're like checking the ball,
Right,
she
right.
gets the ball at the top of the key. We're not playing full court, which would be ridiculous. Like, and I'm obviously not in great physical condition, but I don't think that she could take the ball, dribble, and control the ball well enough to consistently get the ball into the rim area. And even if she got there, I don't think that she would shoot it well.
She would back you down every time.
That's what I was going to say.
I want this to happen, though. And
I'm stronger than she is. I mean, come on. Like, you think she could just back me down? I think I could just,
I think she would back you down. You don't think so? You don't think Angel Reese could back you down from the free throw
You
stripe?
think Angel Reese is going to first of all, have you ever seen anybody play basketball like that? Like, you check the ball to them at the 3-point line, and they just immediately turn backwards and start to back you.
I think she's going to take
Yeah.
you right or left, and once she gets you into the paint a little bit, she's going to back you down, and she's going to throw it up, probably miss. She'll get a rebound, and she'll throw it up again, probably miss, get another rebound, and then she'll probably make. I don't think it would be close. I want to see it. Are we close to getting this thing done? Has there been any response?
She won't play me because I think she knows that I would beat her and destroy women's basketball once and for all.
It would destroy women's basketball.
I don't know if they can come back with that.
Can you imagine if I won? It would set the WNBA back 4 generations.
Yeah, it really would. So let me ask you a different way. Do you? Because I said back in my 20s, I think I could have done this, but do you think you could go out and play in a regular WNBA game and be effective? Like, I think I could have been a 10 rebound guy back in my 20s. Now I couldn't do anything.
If I practice, well, first of all, I'm 46, so it depends on the position. Like I have said, if it's a, ball handler, a point guard, shooting guard, I think I'd be in trouble, right? Like I think I'd be really cooked because they could handle the ball well. They'd cross me over, like all those things, right? So I think unless the girl was like 5'8" or something, where I had like a substantial height advantage and could maybe, take advantage of them inside. But I think that would be the part that would actually, trouble me. I think I could play the 4 in a WNBA game, and you would if I practiced, right? The challenge is like defensive rotations, things like that. Would I get lost on defense 100%? Would I get backdoor cut? Am I in good physical condition? No. But I think I could play the 4 in a WNBA game right now. On a decent number of possessions, and you wouldn't notice that I was there.
I mean, these chicks are like 6'4".
This is just the most absurd. You think you could play at age 40? What are you, 44?
46.
You're 46. You could play the 4.
I think I could play the 4 in a way that you
thing I've heard.
No, no. Just think about it. How often do you notice somebody on the basketball court as so much worse than everybody else on the court? What I'm saying is, if you gave me a wig and I maybe shaved the beard, so I wasn't like the bearded dude in the WNBA, I don't think I would stand out in if you let me practice, I don't think I would stand out in like the offensive or defensive rotation, right? Like, I don't think people would be like, oh, there's 9 amazing players and then one just, Nimrod out there. Like, if you put me in a NBA game or a college basketball game, it would take a fraction of a second for everybody to be like, yeah, that dude doesn't belong on the court at all. I think I could hide myself well enough in a WNBA game, notwithstanding the beard and the maleness and the fact that I have a penis, although maybe that's not even that uncommon in WNBA games. That I wouldn't stand out that much.
I think you would stand out less in a foursome or a pairing. The
LPGA?
Yeah, on like the Travelers or something that we saw last weekend.
Well, my golf swing would be very noticeable as one of the worst golf swings that's ever existed in history. But the reality is the reason why golf exists as a sport is because on any given shot, every golfer can hit a shot better than a professional. It's the only sport you could play where, like, you could stand next to Tiger Woods and you could both take the same, 120-yard approach shot, and you might occasionally hit a better shot than Tiger Woods, right? There's no other sport where you could stand next to a pro, one of the best, I don't think, maybe you guys can think of one, where you could stand next to a pro and actually outperform the pro on a shot, which is what keeps people coming back to golf. You're like, man, that sucked. I got a snowman on that hole. I got, oh, we're just going to count it as a 9. Like, we don't go 4 over, like whatever. And then you stand there and you hit one perfect, majestic shot. And you're like, oh, I can do this. It keeps you coming back.
You know what I can't get past is thinking this week how long the drive to the beach seems. And a group of our bravest American soldiers jumped in a stealth bomber, and they were in the air for 40 straight hours.
Yeah,
like,
it's crazy.
I think I'm never going to get to the beach. I'm never going to, and that's a 5-hour drive.
My back hurts, man. 4 hours in.
I got to get out and pee. I got to stop for food. And these dudes were in the air for 40 straight hours.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I think it's
baffling.
Actually an under-discussed aspect of the story, like how incredible that is, and just what absolute machines they have to be to even do that.
I
right?
know.
And I thought you were going to go with. We're actually going to be moving. I think you want a big, leave aside my WNBA prediction here. You want a big monster prediction. I think within a generation, like almost no one is going to be driving cars. Like I think that the autonomous vehicles, and I think, for instance, like your drive to the beach, I think they will design autonomous vehicles where you'll just have like a van that everybody faces everybody, and you have like a, awesome flat screen television in the center, and everybody's got recliner captain seats, and you just chill and you just watch a couple of Avengers movies on a, drive to the beach. Or for people out there who have young kids, or maybe you're just a super morning person, I think people will be like, hey, we're going to program the car. We're hopping in at 10 p.m. Next stop, beach, 8 a.m. for breakfast. Like, I think people will be just sleeping in the cars, autonomous vehicles. 40,000 people a year die in car accidents. It's a crazy stat that almost nobody talks about. Hundreds of thousands are severely injured. And all of those injuries are just a function of the fact that there's lots of awful drivers, and that driving a car is also inherently dangerous. And so I think autonomous vehicles, I think it's going to be like, I think driving a car is going to become like riding a horse. Like, you can do it, but, it's mostly done for fun. And if you think about the way that autonomous vehicles would change everything, no matter who you are, you're probably spending $20,000, $30,000 a year minimum on car with insurance, gas, the purchase of the vehicle itself. Every road and every business has to be designed to have cars that are allowed to be parked there. Imagine how much different the world looks if you just hail a car, but by and large, you never have to park, you never have to drive. I already like getting in the back of an Uber and just working. I would rather do that than drive already. And I'm not somebody who hates driving. I just think it's super inefficient for the driver. Like, I just drove, I'm in Michigan right now. I just drove up here for, 3.5 or 4 hours on Saturday. And I'm like, that's 3.5 or 4 hours where all I'm doing is driving a car. Like, I'm not being productive. I'm not, using that time very valuably. Anyway, so there's my prediction. A generation from now, I think, that basically car driving is going to become very similar to horse riding. If I was talking to you in 1880, every single person listening would have known, like, how to stable a horse, just about, how to feed a horse, how to comb a horse. Now that's information that basically, I don't know what, 300,000 people in America really have. And I think car riding is going to become obsolete like horse riding.
Okay, finally.
Or car driving.
Finally, Clay, I would assume that you still think ESPN is very politically correct.
I do. Are you talking about the decision to go with
Shane Gillis to host the ESPYs? I mean, he's one of those guys, you can tell him what to do, he ain't going to do it. So
I hope he comes out
and
absolutely eviscerates the athletes, the teams, ESPN itself. So if he's willing to just say, screw it, I'm going to absolutely obliterate them, more power to him.
All right, he is Clay Travis, Outkick founder. You see him on social media at Clay Travis. See him and hear him on Fox. Clay, thank you for the time. Have a great week.
All right, we'll do. I'll see y'all.
All right, buddy. Clay Travis with us on the Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys Hotline.
What else he's talking about, Shane Gillis is going to host the ESPYs coming up July the 16th. Star of Netflix hit show Tires. Just finished its second season there on Netflix, and a stand-up comedian who got into it a little bit with Nick Saban on College Game Day last college football season. Show being brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill. They bring you Lance's Lock every day. Lance'sLock.com for all the baseball plays happening until we get to football season again.
Yeah, 2 plays up and available today. A free play every single day at Lance'sLock.com. Jump on board, win with us. Always brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill Services. Trust the name. Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling issues. Any of those arise in your home or business, they are ready to serve you. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there, 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
Well, you want something crazy. How about the mixed bag you get in the NBA basketball television ratings? The NBA playoffs up 10% for the entire playoffs year to year. They had 16.35 million people watching Game 7, the most since 2019. But for the NBA Finals, it was 10.2, the least viewed NBA Finals since 2007.
Oh.
So the most watched Game 7 since 2019, most watched game in the finals, Game 7 since 2019, but the least viewed finals series since 2007. So a lot of mixed bag stuff there.
And I kind of had an idea when it went 7 games that it was going to be like that based on the fact that you've got 2 of the 8 smallest markets in the NBA. That never helped. And the games were blowouts.
Yeah, they just weren't good games.
Outside of Game 1 was a double-digit game.
Yeah, and you had to stick with Game 1 to know it was a double-digit game.
Right.
That was a furious comeback by the Pacers. If you turn that off early, that hurts ratings, and you never knew it was a good game. But outside of Game 1, the compelling part of the series was only compelling if you want a small market team that is not one of the high-priced teams. You got that in Oak City. Or kind of a little engine that could, for lack of a better term, in Indiana. That was the only appeal to this series.
Well, you don't get 7 games in NBA Finals either. So I think that's the reason that you got the big bounce back on Sunday night. It was a standalone. There was really nothing else going on. So not surprised that Game 7 got the ratings it got.
Without the injury, it could have been bigger. It was 19 million at its peak. 16.35 is where it settled out. NBA drafts tomorrow night. Some positive words for Johni Broome. He's been in the weight room. He's been doing personal workouts. We'll see where Johni Broome, the former Auburn star, ends up going. Dylan Cardwell has been getting some good pub about being a defensive steal in the draft. If he gets drafted at all, maybe an unrestricted free agent. Mark Sears, Grant Nelson, and others, part of the NBA draft, which is happening tomorrow night. And by the way, back to the world champions of Oklahoma City, the Thunder. Not only is Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren up for new deals, they expect to do a new deal for Shane Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA, and it's going to be the highest AAV in NBA history. AAV, Brown, a financial term for average annual value increase.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be the highest AAV increase in NBA history because he's only making this much. Now he's the MVP and a world champion. He's about to make this much. Dude's about to get paid a lot of money.
He is. I'm like Lance, man. If you had let me draft the Calipari guys, he'd probably be on my second team. That'd be about the best he would be. It's amazing Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has done what he has done in as short a period of time as he's done it.
And it's not like he wasn't. It's not like he was in the poorhouse. You know what he made this year, right?
What?
$36 million.
For 1 year?
Crap.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, that was his salary this year.
Nice.
And he's about to get a record AAV.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
but
wow.
again, 11 players in the history of this, the National Basketball Association have won both regular season and finals MVP. So he is in rare air.
How come I feel like that this may be the peak for him? That he may not be this good ever again.
Barring injury. Well,
you have no problem giving him this big
I've got no
contract.
problem.
Okay.
No, because he's been a 30-plus guy for the last 3 years. I mean, he just gets better. And I talked about this yesterday. He has worked his ass off from what seemed like, was going to be kind of a middling player after his first year, gets traded, and it just blows up. So, yeah, I got no problem with this.
Yeah. We'll see how it all works out. SGA about to get a record deal there. All right, when we come back, we got 4 downs today. Interesting on how Auburn has a unique spot in the college football video game, which comes out July the 10th, the EA Sports college football game. We'll tell you what that is. Talk a little NFL camp and more college football because Joel Klatt is on the show with us today at 11 Central, starting the final hour of the show. Joel Klatt is back with us today. The show being brought to you by Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. Maybe you put on a few pounds and ready to start working some of that off in the heat of summer. You can do that by going to the website at planforme.com, planforme.com. Leslie and her board-certified team will help you out. That way, she can tell you all the things they offer right there at Way to Wellness. Injection therapy, meal replacements, protein bars that tie you over from one healthy meal to the next. No contracts, no sign-up fees, and the first consultation is absolutely free. Check it out online, planforme.com, planforme.com. It's Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living.
Follow Dunaway on Twitter and Instagram at Jim Dunaway.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between two warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
If you're looking to expand business and inform the Next Round audience about your exciting brand, contact us. Send an email to sales@nextroundlive.com to be a part of the team and advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential customers on our ever-expanding platform. Join our existing partners in the fastest-growing media space, both live and on demand, and reach the most desirable audience for your business. Get information and more by emailing sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to take your business to the next level with the Next Round.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
The Double Down Media podcast family is live and full of content for all ages. The Mystery Fifth Hour gives the Next Round host a chance to talk about everything but sports. Pour a glass of Bama and bourbon, our weekly college football conversation, while sipping on some of the most interesting pours in the bourbon world. And in our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, LT takes off the gloves for in-depth conversations with stars like Taylor Hicks, presented by Redmont Vodka. Find these podcasts and more by searching The Next Round on Apple, Spotify, and on our website, nextroundlive.com.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Rolling on with our tender moment of the day, brought to you by Bojangles. Boy, I really have two of them. I'm going to go the Auburn EA Sports one here. I'll bring the other one back a little bit later on. Tell us about Bojangles.
From sweet to eat, Bojangles has 7 sauces that will definitely add a little extra flavor to every bite. Nothing pairs better with sauces than hand-breaded tenders. If you're looking for sweet, try honey mustard. If you want to add some tang, try barbecue. If you're looking for some heat, try creamy buffalo or peach honey pepper. If you're craving smooth and creamy, the house-made ranch, jalapeno ranch, or classic Bo sauce ready and waiting. So head to Bojangles, order some hand-breaded tenders with your favorite sauce today. It's Bo time.
Every time you log in to the new EA Sports college football game, which comes out July 10th, it will be the Auburn marching band that you will hear playing as you log in. Back in December, EA Sports came to town after watching the Metallica light show during the season. The EA Sports producer says, quote, "We need that energy." So they came to Auburn and captured it firsthand with all their microphones and the engineers and stuff. From Jordan Hare to your console, they posted on social media. From halftime to headline, Auburn is in the game. And that's the Auburn band. They'll be part of EA Sports College Football. That's sort of part of the soundtrack.
That dude right there, Sachs High School graduate. That's old Corey Sperlin, your Auburn marching band director, Sachs High School class of 1995.
Wow. So this is really smart because not only do you bring another collegiate element to this, but you're appealing to all the band members and their family.
That's right. Think about it. We just want to hear this part. You're going to play the game? No, we're just turning it on.
It doesn't say whether or not the band gets paid like the players does.
Ooh.
Oh, I bet they don't.
Yeah, I would say.
Do they get a free game?
By the sounds of it, no.
Yeah.
Maybe a free game.
I don't
That's
know
only
if
a
they
few
get a free
hundred
game.
That's a few hundred guys. You want me to text Sperlin and ask him?
Ask him if I'd like to know if the band got $600.
And how much input he actually had on the game.
Right. I personally believe, and call me crazy, I'm a horrible businessman. I feel like the Auburn band members, like the players, if their music's in the game, then they each should have gotten the cut like the players did.
Oh, I disagree with that.
How come?
Because you could have a bunch of different bands do this. There's only certain players can play.
What do they play? What
I don't know.
It's not
Brent.
Metallica, right?
It's not out yet. No, it's going to be.
It's the EA Sports theme or whatever.
I really don't know, Brown.
Yeah, I mean, you can't take. Well, here's the thing: you can't tell the players to kick rocks. You can tell the band, "Hey, we'll get another band."
That's right. We'll go to Appalachian State and get a band.
Truthfully, as a guy who plays the game, I don't really pay attention to the players anyway. I end up playing past all the players that are there. They're fake players 3 years, 4 years into the dynasty anyway.
Yeah, that's the thing. The college. If you're playing some of the throwback, the all-time great teams, it's fun to see some of those players, but you're more attached to the players in the NFL.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That was our Bojangles tender moment of the day. Before we get to 4 downs, tell us about the wonderful folks at New York Butcher.
New York Butcher Shop, I said on Saturday I got in there. It was pretty cool. Jim's always got fresh smoked wings sitting out for you to sample, for you to buy in bulk on Saturdays. But everybody was trying those wings. They were just blown away. I went in, got a couple of the steaks, some of the twice-baked pimento cheese, baked potatoes, fantastic. All of the sides made fresh in-house. Got the meatballs last week. You can't go wrong with anything from the New York Butcher Shop. And if you're just looking for a big-time lunch or dinner, those deli sandwiches, they're huge. You'll love them. Get in, see Jim. 2 locations, Cahaba Heights, the original, Highway 119 in Greystone. Rare quality, well-done service. It is the New York Butcher Shop.
Okay, before we get to the 4 downs, because there may be at least one Illinois question in there. Illinois is our 40-40 team today, number 11. Only 4 of our voters had them in the playoffs. None of us had them making the playoffs. But there are playoff expectations for Bret Bielema and quarterback Luke Altmaier. Here's the quarterback talking about those expectations for the Illini.
Yeah, I don't think it has to be said a whole lot. to start off with, I mean, is obviously put in the air by Coach Bielema because, you know, we see him a lot, and that's a big message. But we have a lot of older guys who understand what's important, I think, and that's the work that we do. And we understand the talents that we have, and if we put it all together, then it really doesn't matter what we come across. If we do what we have to do and execute and our day-to-day job on the field, we're going to be in a good position to go win. Obviously, we'll face some good teams with some good talent, and they're going to do the same thing. But we'll prepare as good as we can and execute as best we can because we know we're gifted. But like I said, we understand what's important. It's a lot of older guys who have heard Coach Bielema talk a whole lot and understand what this program's about. So it doesn't have to be said a lot. It's kind of known, you know, from the leadership and just the vibe in the locker room. Guys have done it, and they understand what's important. So, yeah, it's a daily task to wake up and to attack the day with the best that you got. So, understanding the opportunity that's in front of us.
Number 11 in our rankings. That gets us to our 4 downs today, starting with
First Down.
Who wins a college football playoff game first, Bret Bielema or Mario Cristobal?
I think I'd go with Cristobal.
Do you think we're going to get to the point, though, where, I mean, Miami is spending money, where they're going to say, you know what, we've got an average coach. He can recruit.
Yeah, what's his record at Miami? Cristobal. Give me the year to year to year. Because
what do you think it is?
They have gone out every year and made us. They've made a splash every year in the offseason, bringing in somebody.
Mario Cristobal at Miami he's coached 38 games. 38 games, 24 in conference.
I would go 26-12.
I say he's got 22 wins.
Jim has nailed it. 22-16. That is unacceptable.
Yeah,
what do you think
pathetic.
his ACC record is? 24 games.
500.
Jim has nailed it again. He's 12-12. That's even worse.
Yeah, that's pathetic. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. 5-7, 7-6, 10-3.
I mean, he's had one good year, 10-3, and that was a disappointing 10-3 because he completely crapped the bed against Syracuse and knocked his team out of the ACC championship game and the college football playoff.
That was last year, right?
That was last year. Yeah.
I think the answer is neither. I just can't see Illinois winning a playoff game. I'm going to go Cristobal. I don't feel good about it.
I'm going to go Cristobal as well.
I don't feel good about it either.
I don't feel good about it either.
Second down.
And I like Mario. I think he.
I don't dislike the guy. I think he's very average coach.
He seems like a dick.
Something's missing.
I have always said I think he's the guy you want Sunday through Friday. I think it's Saturday where he's at his weakest as a coach, and that's a problem.
More wins this year. The Illini or the Chicago Bears? Chicago 5-12 last year, so they doubled them up last year. I do think Chicago's going to be really, really improved with Ben Johnson, second year Caleb Williams.
Well, boy, a brutally difficult division.
It is. But I think it's a pretty brutal schedule for Illinois this year.
I don't think Chicago is the worst team in that division this year. For some reason, I think it's going to be the Vikings.
Well, that some reason would be J.J. McCarthy's not good.
Let me see.
Is that what you think?
Based on schedule, I mean, they get like 2 breaks the entire year. I mean, Vikings, Lions, Cowboys, at the Raiders, at the Commanders, the Saints, at the Ravens, at the Bengals, Giants, at the Vikings, Steelers, at the Eagles, at the Packers. I mean, that's crazy.
I'll go both 8.
Yeah, I think 8 is about the win total for Chicago, which is a step in the right direction.
Yeah. But I'm going to go.
I'm going to lean Bears.
I was going to say Bears. 8 to 7.
I'll go
9 to 8.
I just don't have faith with that schedule in that division. The Bears can get over 8, and I think Illinois can at least get 8. Yeah. So I think I'm going to go Illinois.
God, why am I starting to feel like the Lions are about to start slipping back?
Oh, they are.
Well, they are because they've lost their coordinators.
Yeah, I don't think Aaron Glenn was nearly the loss that you're going to get with Ben Johnson.
Right.
But now everything Dan Campbell does is going to get really magnified.
Yeah. They've lost their coordinators. What else was their big loss? What am I not remembering? I thought there was another big loss in there. Anyway, Frank Ragnow, their center.
Yeah.
One of the best centers in the game just walked away. And
Aiden Hutchinson, how healthy is he?
Exactly. So I do think they're going to start to fall backwards.
Third down.
Tyler, feel free to jump in here. Lionel Messi, 38 years old. Better career, Lionel Messi or Eric Clapton?
Messi.
That was so easy for you. Eric Clapton, some people consider greatest one of the greatest guitarists of all time.
Yeah, that's a long list though. Like real stiff competition for Clapton, but Messi just blows everybody out of the water. It's not even close.
Everybody, huh?
Yeah. Everybody.
So is he the best ever?
He's the greatest ever.
I think
better
he's
than
the best ever to do it, and will be remembered as such.
Better than Pele?
Yes, easily.
Is Pele number 2?
I mean, I guess so. Pele's more respected for what he did to the game and like how he pushed it forward, and then also all of the stories of him training as a child.
Would Ronaldo
barefoot.
not be number 2?
What's up?
Ronaldo, would he not be number 2?
Ronaldo's in the discussion.
But is it this? So, like, is it a bigger gap than what you get? I mean, when we talk about Tiger Woods, you talk about Jack Nicklaus. When you talk about Michael Jordan, LeBron, Magic, is it a bigger gap from any of that? Football, you really don't have the definitive guy.
I would say that, like, if you're arguing Pele's the best, it's kind of like saying Joe Montana is the best quarterback ever. Like,
Okay, how about this? Nick
That's
Saban.
a great comparison, by the way, by you.
Well, Nick Saban, you can't even. There's not even another college coach that was close. So is that the gap? Nick Saban, who is number 2 on y'all's list?
All-time college football coaches?
Is it Bobby Bowden?
Bear Bryant.
No, it's probably Bear Bryant.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Or Bear Bryant. Yeah, I forget about that guy.
Yeah.
Is it a bigger gap, Lionel to whoever the second guy, than Nick Saban to Bear Bryant?
Ooh. I'd say it's probably a similar gap, just because, like I was mentioning with Pele, you've just got the history, and that's kind of like the Bear Bryant pull for this conversation. But as far as just a dominant player that can play pretty much any position he wants.
And wins championships. You know, that's one of those sports where, you know, in basketball, and I know LeBron James disagrees with this now. He said it's a ring culture, and that's wrong. But in basketball, one great, when you put a couple of pieces around, should be able to do it. Soccer, a little more difficult, but, I mean, that dude's won championships at every level.
Yeah, it's definitely more difficult to just have your entire team strategy built around one guy because you've got 11 people out on the field, but you can definitely have one just superstar midfielder that feeds the balls to the strikers, and then they get more opportunities, so they finish more, and the team does better.
Just first of all, to applaud your Joe Montana comparison is he's won a lot, considered to be at time to be the GOAT of all time in quarterbacks, but nobody would take him, picking him as the quarterback off of his skills. Even when he played, Dan Marino had better skills than Joe
maybe
Montana.
John Elway did too. I mean, there were several guys in the league.
He just won a lot. Just a quick AI search. Pele, often considered by many to be the greatest, his skill, vision, and prolific scoring ability revolutionized the game. But I would say the athletes and the goalkeepers, not as good when Pele played.
Absolutely.
He's the only player to have won 3 World Cups.
Pele?
Yeah. Lionel Messi's next on the list, modern-day icon, known for his incredible dribbling, vision, and goal scoring. Better athletes, better goal keeps, I think. So he had to do a bit better.
I just remember how big of a deal Pele was as a kid.
Yeah, that's the only guy I knew.
For the New York Cosmos in the movie Victory with Sylvester Stallone and Michael Caine. They ain't done a movie with Lionel Messi, have they?
Not yet.
They did one with Beckham, though. Been it like Beckham.
And the name we didn't mention, Diego Maradona.
Oh, yes. Maradona was well renowned for his footwork.
Yeah,
he invented
if he would have been committed,
360, but they call it the Maradona.
If he would have stayed away from the cocaine and whores, he would have been. Really
Say that about Tiger Woods too. Tiger was better when he was doing that.
How often have you seen that story, though?
4th down.
So Mick Fleetwood is 78 years old, the only member of Fleetwood Mac from beginning throughout the duration with all the breakups and everything.
His name's literally in the band.
Yeah. But if I asked you, better band career, Fleetwood Mac or the Grateful Dead?
Oh, Fleetwood Mac to me.
Look, I hate the Dead, but I mean, look, the Dead. I mean, they're still.
Who's fronting the Dead right now?
That's a very good question.
But
I mean, John Mayer is part of it.
Yeah, Mayer was doing it at one point.
But it ended when Garcia left. I mean, Fleetwood Mac still got together with the original people until Buckingham
died in 1994.
Yeah, they've been touring for a very long time.
I mean, Leonard Skinner still tours. I'm talking about once.
I think at this point, Jerry Garcia's had a Ben & Jerry's flavor longer than
No, but I'm just Dunaway, I see what you're saying, but I'm just talking about like tour dates and money made from tours and all that kind of stuff.
I'm just talking about when Jerry Garcia passed, the Grateful Dead was never the Grateful Dead again.
But how do
Fleetwood
you
Mac still?
How do you define success?
Got those groups there together. I mean, that group still got back together. Not often because they hated each other, right? But they still got back
Christy
together.
McVie chick is dead now, right?
Yeah, but that was just recent, relatively
So
speaking,
the
to
singers
Jerry
for
Garcia.
The Dead now are Mickey Hart and Bob Weir.
Yeah, somebody is saying that that John Mayer actually owns the band now. That he bought the band.
Wow, that's got to be expensive.
I mean, I don't know how much you'd have to pay for that.
I wouldn't even think he's got the money to do that. But
John
I mean,
Mayer's made
what
some good money.
what is band success? Is it commercial success? Is it tickets sold? Is it records sold? Again, I hate the Dead.
But like Def Leppard, who's in town tomorrow night, tonight, Dave Matthews. It's still Dave Matthews, and a lot of his original band is still there. Not all of them, but some of them. But Dave Matthews is still there. Def Leppard, it's almost all those same guys.
3 or 4.
3 of the 4. Yeah. Right? I mean, Journey.
And 4 of the 4 for a long time.
Journey, I mean, that was tough to, I mean, when Steve Perry left, but there was still a lot of the other band there. How much is left of the Grateful Dead? I mean, we know how much is left of Leonard Skinner. I don't count any of the after years of Leonard Skinner.
The Dead's a bigger brand.
It is a brand, yes. Much like, Puma. Am I saying that right? Puma's a brand, but I know that's a bad comparison.
Okay.
I pointed at my shirt for no reason.
That was a good start, though. You had
I
it.
think I would go. I really don't like either. I think I would go the Dead.
Yeah.
Dead and Company is what John Mayer owns, by the way, and he owns half of it.
Which is basically just the Grateful Dead.
Yeah, pretty much.
What is the chat saying about that? Dead or Fleetwood Mac?
Morgan says Grateful Dead and Fleetwood Mac both suck. So
I agree.
Final Four Troy says I can't tell you a single Grateful Dead song. Smuff says Mayer didn't buy the band. He's been playing lead guitar for them for a while.
Alabama Getaway.
How do you buy a band?
That's a good question. Dylan says Fleetwood Mac. Fred says he wasn't the front man. LOL. Keith says who can't stay away from the cocaine and the hose.
Who can't?
Who can't? Rusty says Fleetwood Mac. It looks like Fleetwood Mac probably has the chat.
I mean, this is going to be. If you're a Dead fan, you're going to be all Dead, and if you're not, you're going to be Fleetwood Mac.
I feel bad. Like
John Mayer, AI, capital letters.
Boy, we're all over AI today.
John Mayer did not purchase the Grateful
He
Dead.
did not. Dead and Company.
He acquired
51%.
51% of majority stake of Dead and Company.
That's right. Yes.
Which only continues the legacy of the Grateful Dead.
So that you mentioned Christy McVie, we were riding around the other day and Silver Springs came on, which Christy McVie sings the lead, and then Stevie Nicks comes in, and I was like, I'm sure Christy McVie, I mean, she might have been a nice girl, I don't know.
But why would you have her doing any
But
of the...
imagine singing, and then Stevie Nicks starts to sing.
Yeah.
You're like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Why is this one girl singing?
Last year, the tour grossed $50
Which
million.
one?
The Dead and Company
Okay.
grossed $50 million.
That seems low.
And he got 51% of that. So he's bought in for that.
Now, they were at the Sphere, right?
Dead and Company?
Yeah.
Yes.
Seems like that would be perfect for them, yeah.
That would be a fitting show.
As Patrick points out, Fleetwood Mac had a ton of number ones. The Dead had the single Touch of Grey is their only number one, right?
Did it hit number one?
I think Touch of Grey hit number one. I think that's their only. What are you laughing at?
I was going to AI. How many?
No, do it. See, Fleetwood.
I bet Fleetwood Mac's got 8 to 10.
Oh,
and you're
yeah.
right. I bet the Dead. I don't think Touch of Grey hit
I
one.
thought Touch of Grey hit number one.
Touch of Grey did hit number 1 on the Billboard charts, and it is
Such a
their
bad
only
song.
number 1
It's
hit.
their only number one.
And that was the video. That was supported by the video with the skeletons, right?
It's foreshadowing to Jerry Garcia 6 years later.
Yeah. It's their only number 1 hit.
And then Fleetwood Mac only had one number 1 hit.
What?
Dreams.
Oh, really? Dreams?
That's hard to
Oh,
believe.
wait. Correction, AI. Grateful Dead never achieved a number 1 hit on the Billboard Hot 100 chart.
Well, it's
their
Tyler.
highest charting
Billboard
single
rock
was
charts.
"Touch of Grey,"
Rock.
which was number 9 in '87.
What,
You
rock?
gotta go Hot 100. That's the Casey
Yeah, which
case
one
in the
did you
top
go?
40.
Where'd you go? Rock 100?
It was like top rock charts. or
Well, you
whatever.
can
It was
find
whatever
Finland
people
probably
pulled
had
up.
them number
Well,
one.
if I'm Fleetwood Mac, I take the win there.
That's like saying George
number
Strait
one on
had 60 number 1 hits, where
Hey.
he had 60 number 1 country hits. It was never all number 1 on the
What, he sings country. I mean, that's
Billboard
what I'm
Hot
going to
100.
count. I'm going to count the
Well,
country
Billboard
hits.
Hot 100 is all the genres put together.
Do not besmirch King George in front
Just
of me.
making a point.
Dreams went number 1 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100.
Well, I'm surprised
Is that good?
Dreams would be their number one.
I would have said Dreams. I mean, their best songs of the chain. It's not even close.
Oh, it's fantastic. But I would have thought Don't Stop Believing. I know.
Yeah.
I caught myself before.
Yeah, what was it? Was Bill Clinton's song.
Yeah, it was Bill Clinton.
What was it?
Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow.
Yeah. Terrible.
I think it was just Don't Stop. Yeah, but I was going to add Believe It.
Grateful Dead never had a Billboard number 1 album.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
Okay.
Yeah.
End of discussion. Okay. Is that 4 downs? We have another one.
That is 4 downs.
4 downs today, brought to you in part by our friends at Gutter Cap. Tell us about C-Stu, man. What a great service he offers.
Look, the last thing you want to do, especially in this heat, is get out the dangerous ladder. You get on the roof, you slip, you fall, you snap the neck and die. No good to the wife or kids. Make the phone call that a lot of people have made throughout this area. Right now, he's got an incredible deal. If you mention the next round, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. For more information, guttercapbirmingham.com.
Okay, a couple of things. One of them, we're getting ready for the Ryder Cup this fall at Bethpage, right?
Yep.
Keegan Bradley, who won this past week, he's the captain. People are saying that he could be the first playing captain since Arnold Palmer, but there is now a growing discussion that he should give up being captain and let that circle back around to him at a later date, that he's playing good enough to be on the U.S. team and let somebody else be the captain so he's not distracted. How do you feel about that, Brownie?
I would think it would be difficult. There's a reason you haven't had a playing captain. Now, most of the time, a captain is a guy that has had a good long career and he's earned it, so there's no way he would be a player if not a captain. So it's pretty rare that those two would match up. But
we've almost had more player managers in Major League Baseball.
You're right about that.
That's crazy.
In my lifetime, I can remember Pete Rose did it, and in my lifetime, Frank Robinson did it when I was younger. So that's 2.
Yeah.
Since Arnie did it, I think.
Arnie was 1960. It was in the 1960s sometime. I want to say it might be 1960.
I want to say Pinella did it too, but I'm not going to do that.
I don't know Dunaway. The guy's obviously playing very well right now. He's played well in the majors. He just won this past weekend when Tommy Fleetwood collapsed. Again, Fleetwood is a remarkable story. As successful as the guy's been, he's still never won on U.S. soil. He's made a bundle of money over here, but
have
never
you
won
seen
a
the
tournament.
video with Keegan Bradley and Miguel Angel Jimenez?
Yeah,
when was that from?
Old. That's old.
Okay.
That's back maybe late 90s when they got in the confrontation. Yeah, kind of uncommon. It's probably early 2000s.
It just randomly popped up on one of my feeds.
Early
last
2000s. I just don't know that you can handle both of them. There's so much that goes on. You feel like you're serving two masters there. I would say the better solution here, if Keegan Bradley is on board with it, is let him play and be captain next time.
Yeah, that's the way I would do it.
Yeah, but now I would let him make the decision.
Oh yeah,
though.
yeah, but that's what I would do.
Yeah.
If I am on the team, if you guys are going to let me be on the team,
Which I think he's 9th in points right now.
Like everyone is saying that he should be on the team, that he's the most clutch American player.
He would probably be the most of the Americans. He would probably be the guy that has played the most Ryder Cup matches.
Yeah.
I would have to think.
Interesting discussion.
He is.
Always loved the Ryder Cup. Wish it was in August, not in September.
I know. I've got tickets. I was telling Lance the other day.
Yeah.
I've got a ticket, and I just don't know. He's 9th right now. Now, keep in mind the top 6 qualify automatically, and the others are captain's picks. But he would, in any other world, he would be automatically a captain's pick. I mean, you wouldn't think twice about it.
I'd be the captain. I'd pick myself and then turn the captain over to somebody else. That's the way I would do it. All right, top of the hour, Joel Klatt talks roughly 30 minutes of college football with us coming up. Show being brought to you by our friends at New Life Art. Unbelievable college football moments, including some great ones with Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa. And who was the old guy that blocked that kick against Tennessee? Remember that?
Oh, Terrence Cody?
Terrence Cody with a rocky block.
Mount Cody?
Well, you know how long ago? I just watched the 2008 Chick-fil-A Kickoff Classic last night. Alabama, unranked, I think, Alabama against ranked Clemson. Rolling into the Georgia Dome, Brent Musburger and Kirk Herbstreit on the call. Seems forever ago. I wish I could go back to that night right then and live it all again. You can at DanielMooreArt.com. DanielMooreArt.com, promo code TNR.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
As we all know, there's no off season when it comes to college football. If you want to stay in the know with all things Auburn, join us over on thebarnauburn.com and get $25 off your annual subscription. We'll keep you up to date and give you exclusive content all the way to the first Saturday of football season on thebarnauburn.com.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemphill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemphill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemphill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemphill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
The World Wide Web is a large place. Find all your favorite people and content in the same spot. NextRoundLive.com is full of wonderful tidbits about the show you know and love. Find our gear, listen to your favorite personalities, follow our socials, and enjoy your trip to NextRoundLive.com.
Do you need some refreshed college wear to represent your team this year? Shop Roback's Game Day collection that includes both Alabama and Auburn. From quarter zips to hoodies, Roback has it all. Get 20% off on us using code TNR20 at roback.com.
Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on The Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at The Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from The Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between 2 warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Joel Klatt scheduled to be with us here in just a second. The show being brought to you by our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. Always brings you the final hour of the show for 980 shows. Go by and see Sterling right there on Highway 119 in Alabaster, that same location for over a decade now. Perfect for your tailgating. 60 days away from college football. You don't have to wait, though. That food is there for you. Doors opened about I don't know, 124 seconds ago. You can swing by there and try those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, the hand-cut chicken fingers, and that brined overnight, juicy to the bone fried chicken. It's all right there at Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster.
Oh, I cannot wait till we hear him say Joel Klatt. When Gus and Joel are back for the big noon kick, it's 60 days. Oh, it's not 60 days away. Was it 67 days away? Is that
60
right?
from week 0.
60 from week 0. Klatt is with us now on the Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys. That's a spectacular hat, by the way. I do love that hat.
America.
That's right. America. How you been, man? You good?
I'm good. Those of you don't know the behind the scenes, Brownie has been
harassing.
He's been texting me, and I have not been avoiding you guys.
Yeah,
it's just the schedule has just been what it's been. So, listen, your showtime tends to fall when I have tea times.
Yeah,
let's just be honest. Right.
Yeah.
You know, so there's only a couple of days a week that this can work.
Oh, I bet I can look up Klatt's handicap. We're looking up handicaps on the show today, Klatt.
Yeah, a little controversy earlier. I bet Klatt is a 2.1.
Do you first of all, do you have a USGA handicap before I do this?
I do.
Okay. You bet he's a what?
2.1.
I think Klatt struggles with the 5 to 8 foot putt, but I'm gonna put him at 2.8.
So let me ask you this while he's pulling this.
No, Klatt's a plus. You're a plus 0.6. Klatt has been golfing that ball.
Yeah. How often do you
plus
play?
handicap, Klatt. Look at you.
Do you play every day?
No. Probably I would say 2-3 times a week in the off season, somewhere around there.
Okay, plus 0.6 is getting the ball around.
But are you like DeChambeau?
The plus 0.6 is a bit frustrating. I was sitting at about plus 1.3.
Yeah, your low's
for
plus
a while.
Your plus 1.7 is your low.
Yeah, and I threw in a 78.
I see that
my last round.
Yep.
That's just.
You're.
Are you playing the same tracks over and over now? I mean, these.
Yeah, I mean, I play my club quite a bit, which obviously lowers it. I would say it's artificially, a shot low, because of that, because I play my place quite a bit, and inevitably, you play back and you shoot 171 or 72 or 69, and like it just plummets and stays down there forever.
Yeah, it does feel like good scores drop it way more than high scores raise it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That is the frustrating part of the handicap.
Yeah, but do you feel like Bryson DeChambeau? I didn't see the quote, but Brown told me about it when he played just with regular people on a regular course, and he was like, "How do you guys play on this stuff all the time? When we're on the tour, we got perfect lies and perfect greens, and you guys play out here."
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, you play on great courses.
We used to say that when I played minor league baseball. You go to those minor league parks, single A parks, and everything. You get some wicked hops playing in the field, and we're all like, these big leaguers have it incredible, right? They have flat batters boxes. The pitchers throw strikes. The bounces are perfect. I'm like, how can you not be a great big leaguer?
So if I said Kirk Cignetti in Indiana will have more wins over the next 3 years than Sharon Moore in Michigan, would I be insane?
Does last year count?
I thought about counting last year, but I don't think that's fair because that's going to give
right. So, I just need to know the scale. So, are we in the middle of the 3 years, or are we starting from now?
Let's start from now because I think Fernando Mendoza is going to go number 1 overall. So, I think you're going to get better quarterback play. I think you get better quarterback play from Mendoza.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just thrown out
it's been this way all summer. It's been this way all summer.
I think Underwood's going to be great. I've never even seen him play. I've just seen his look and based on the money that he paid him. So I think he's going to be great. But from what I hear, Indiana's not going anywhere. Cignetti's got real deal stuff going on there.
If you say we're in the middle of the 3 years, I think that they've got a chance. If we're starting from now, I would bet towards Michigan. Remember now, these imbalances within league schedules are real. You guys see that in the SEC, I mean, you look at what Florida and Oklahoma have to deal with, and it's just Florida's going to be a really good team that's going to go 8-4. And they're going to be a really good team. that could beat most teams in the country. And, so are they going to be like an 8-4 team? Meanwhile, Missouri has one of the softer SEC schedules. They could win 10 games. I don't know if Missouri's better than Florida. And I just bring up that example to kind of like, I guess, put it at home for you guys. Indiana's schedule last year was they caught Michigan on the transition year. They didn't play Ohio State. They didn't play Oregon. They didn't play Oregon or Penn State. So the only tough game that they had was Ohio State, and they played awful. So I don't know about the sustainability. Now, I am a big fan of Kurt Cignetti. I don't think that they're going anywhere, but I don't know if they're going to be 10-11 win good, whereas I know what Michigan can do. They are recruiting at a better level than they ever had, even under Jim Harbaugh. And so I think that they will remain one of the elite teams in the league. So from here forward, Michigan over the next 3 years.
I mean,
if we're in the middle of the 3 years, I think it's close.
Speaking of Michigan, and I'm sorry to interrupt you there. You guys, y'all have got one of the most compelling games week one, obviously. There were two fascinating games week one to me in Texas, Ohio State, and Clemson, LSU. But a super compelling early season game, because I don't know if we know which direction either of these teams will go, is this Oklahoma-Michigan game in Norman.
Yeah.
Bryce Underwood, if he is the starter, having to make a road start in that place, and the Oklahoma schedule is absolutely unforgiving. Like, they just cannot absorb an early season loss like that. That is a fascinating game.
No, Oklahoma's probably going to be a lot better. I really like John Mateer a lot. I was fortunate enough. Here's the thing, and I think you guys will back me up on this. I don't think anybody watched John Mateer last year.
I saw him play the Apple Cup. That's the only time I saw him. But Lance is big on this guy. He saw him some.
Yeah, I watched way too much Washington State just because of a gambling aspect last year.
Good.
I loved watching the guy play, though, man. He was
he's really good, man.
He's just so gritty and gutty, and he can do everything.
Yeah, I watched him a couple of times because I own stock in CW.
Jim's the one. Incredible answer, by the way. That's my favorite right there. So I got to watch every snap he played. Not weekly, and I'm not trying to say this, but because I was prepping for the Holiday Bowl, and so I watched all the Washington State film when they were getting ready to play Syracuse, and I came away more impressed with him, their system, Arbuckle going with him as the OC, and yet, guys, I would be shocked if Oklahoma is better than 8-4. Ooh. That schedule is brutal. And, the hard part for them is that Michigan's not going to be a cakewalk. That Michigan team, there's no team in the country other than Ohio State that won the national championship that had a better last month of the season than Michigan. They go into the shoe and beat Ohio State as a 20-point dog. Then with Milroe playing and all of their guys opting out, they took their basically second-string defense in there and just absolutely shut down Alabama and beat Alabama. That's an incredible last month. It's also a last month that coincides with Bryce Underwood choosing them. So the momentum that they created late last year, we'll see if that continues with all the saga that we've going on with Sharon and his self-imposed suspension, everything. But that's not going to be an easy game for OU. I think that's an incredibly interesting game. I think it's really important for both teams. In fact, I believe I have it on kind of my I've been talking about it this offseason on the show, these pressure point games. And that's a pressure point game certainly for OU, because if you don't beat Michigan with a true freshman quarterback, and where Michigan's program is right now, you look at the rest of that schedule and it's like, oh my gosh, are we going to win 6? But if you do beat Michigan, then you can say, okay, well, maybe we can manage to get to that 9-win mark. Maybe we are good enough. So that is a huge point in the season, even though it's early, for Venables and that OU program, because I think it tells you everything about the direction that their season's going to go.
I would say that as an SEC flag waver, I usually talk about
Yeah,
the depth of the SEC. And I feel like this is the year in the Big Ten that the middle takes another step forward to get better this year in the Big Ten. I feel like Nebraska, USC, Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, Washington, Minnesota, Iowa, they're going to be pretty good teams.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I just can't with Nebraska. I remember a couple of years ago, I think I said this to you guys, hey, I'm done with Texas until they do something. And then they did.
Right.
To their credit. And they've been to back-to-back playoffs and semifinals, and that's where I'm at with Nebraska. I just can't. I like Matt a lot, but I'm just so tired of every offseason being like, this could be it, guys. This is the, hey, so not to jump in.
But a bowl game last year, right? It was a step forward, a bowl game.
Is, I think, accurate. I think it's very accurate. Illinois is going to be a team that I think has a really good chance to go to the playoff, a really good chance to go to the playoff in a 12-team format. I don't think Indiana is going anywhere. I think this Gronowski kid from South Dakota State that's transferring to Iowa is a huge deal no one talks about. I think it's equal to Mateer going to OU. Gronowski has played 50-plus games. He's been in national championship games at that level, and we've seen that pays off. The experience factor pays off. So I think Iowa is going to be right there. We know Oregon's going to be good. I think Michigan bounces back. We know Ohio State's going to be good. And I think the team that might win the Big Ten is Penn State. So you're absolutely accurate about kind of the depth growing. And by the way, I didn't even mention USC, which, you look at all the close games last year, and they could certainly turn it around. The depth in the SEC last year was staggering. It was fantastic. They suffered from what the Big Ten was in previous years, which was they didn't have anybody really elite. Maybe you could say Georgia and Texas, but as we saw in the playoff, when you get pushed around by Notre Dame, I don't know if you can technically say you're elite. And Texas was doing everything they could just to hang in there against Ohio State. The SEC is going to be a great league. It's going to be a deep league. I think the Big Ten is going to be a great league. It's going to be a deep league. Here's the thing that I find fascinating, though, is in particular early, you're going to have a lot of these games that I think that the SEC for the first time in maybe 2 decades is under a lot of pressure to win because of how last year went. Guys, the SEC had a really, really bad end of the season last year. They lost a lot of important games that were against teams and regions that they normally dominate. And so now you're going to have these massive, massive games like Texas, Ohio State, Michigan, Oklahoma, LSU, and Clemson, among others. And they're going to need some wins in those games because you look at what happened last year. Again, Notre Dame beat Georgia. Texas got beat by Ohio State. Michigan beat Alabama. Illinois beat South Carolina. You go on and on. They did not perform like they have over the course of the last 2 decades. So in this era where conference supremacy seems to be so important in the playoff era, I think those games early in the season are vital. For the conference to kind of maintain that edge or air of supremacy. When's the last time they had to put out some sort of analytic propaganda packet to prop themselves up? That was borderline. I love Greg, but his people are walking him, off the plank. That was, I don't want to say pathetic, but that was awful. That whole spring meeting propaganda packet. Are you kidding me? For a game, for a league that plays 5 FCS opponents in November and plays the least amount of league games of anybody in the Power 4, plays the least amount of Power 4 opponents in the non-conference, plays the most FCS opponents in November. And you're going to put out that and try to sell it off as we're hands down the most. I'm like, come on.
I always love your fine print, the FCS games in November, because my goodness, if you look at September FCS games or G5 games from the Big Ten in those September games, when the SEC is playing the Michigans and the Clemsons, you get a lot of MAC games from the Big Ten.
So Okay, schools that play FCS opponents and 10 Power 4 opponents. How many SEC schools do that?
I would say
Zero.
Zero
Do you know
must be
how
the
many
answer.
Big Ten teams do that? 4: Michigan, UCLA, USC, and Wisconsin. Schools that play an FCS opponent. 15 of 16 for the SEC, 14 of 18 for the Big Ten. Conference games, Big Ten, 81, SEC, 64. Total Power 4 games, Big Ten, 93, SEC, 82. That's the least amount of any Power 4 conference. Group of 5 games, most of any conference, SEC, 31. So,
okay, can I just say this? I didn't want to go this direction.
I'm just saying, you always say those November games, those same type of
that
games
doesn't
are
make
popping,
a difference.
popping
You don't
up
think
in
it makes
September.
a difference when you play that? You don't think it makes a difference that the schedule is created to separate out the difficult stretches of the season?
Yes, but if we all did it the way the Big Ten does it, where we played all these conference
Then the
games
sport
at
would
the
be
end.
better.
No, your TV packages would suck early on. We'd have so many bad windows.
That's a different discussion, though. The discussion of how we should schedule the non-conference and who should be in control of scheduling the non-conference is a totally different discussion, because I don't think athletic directors and individual programs should be in charge of that. I'd like to take that over in a centralized body and schedule within pods based on where you finished the previous year, so that we can drive some parity and we would drive much more meaningful and valuable games, not only for the networks, but for fans, which is really the point of the
all for
sport.
that. That'd be fantastic.
I agree. The analytics unneeded for the SEC. Let me say this, though. What bothers me is Bret Bielema saying they got to play 9. They got to play 9. This is all you got to look at. Bielema, a long time at Wisconsin, Arkansas, and now Illinois. Very comparable programs, all three. He averaged 8.5 wins at Wisconsin and Illinois. Dude averaged 5.5 wins at Arkansas.
Yeah.
That should shut him up. I'm going to ask you my important question now. I think
okay.
Go ahead. Okay. I mean, is that not legitimate? Like, hey, Bret Bielema doesn't need to be the guy that is driving this for the Big Ten, because it's an easy shutdown. You couldn't get it done in the SEC.
This entire conversation. Well, and by the way, that is, and you're normally really good about this, but that is such the SEC honk, like Arkansas's equivalent to Wisconsin. In what universe?
Okay, so Wisconsin's a much better program, is what you're saying.
Much better? How about by the orders of magnitude better?
I will say, and when we discussed this, I brought this up. Wisconsin did get to feast on the Big Ten West, while Arkansas had to play in the SEC 100%. West.
Okay,
yes.
you will give me the Arkansas and Illinois. Is that more in line?
Okay. Now, I didn't come on here to have this.
I don't want to back.
Debate.
I've got.
But
I will say
this conversation that we're having is the reason that we have to, as a sport, move away from a selection-based playoff model into an access-based playoff model. Because if it's continued to go down this stupid 5-11 model where we're going to have 11 at-large teams, this is all it becomes, a propaganda narrative conversation, and everyone just screaming at each other about which is more difficult and trying to compare, apples to oranges. And it becomes like a religious debate or a political debate where no one's ever actually convinced. You just scream in your own echo chamber.
100%.
So, like this idea that we're going to go to a 5-11, 16-team model with the committee, who has done untold damage to the sport, not their fault, more the criteria's fault, and we're going to give them the opportunity to select 11 at-large teams. That's preposterous. And terrible for the sport.
Okay, so for a long time, SEC Big Ten football better, but I loved watching Pac-12 after dark. The Big 12 has become that conference for me. For the foreseeable future, a fascinating question year in, year out is going to be, who wins the Big 12? I mean,
Oh,
last year,
man.
Oklahoma
That's a
State
great
0-9, Arizona State, ultimately 11 wins and took Texas to the brink. But if I asked you going into this season, who wins the Big 12? Do you feel good about an answer?
No. I feel better about the CW stock.
I mean, it really is it's almost impossible to say, I feel great this one team.
Impossible.
Yeah.
Your question is absolutely 100% accurate. I have no idea about that conference because, and this is not meant as a knock, there's just no separator. There's no great team. And so every single team is going to be involved. And I was at their spring meetings and talked to all their coaches, and they all said the same thing. It's like, listen, we're going to be in 6 one-score games, which is the exact opposite of what generally happens for good teams in any other conference. Because as we know, the margin in college football between a great team and an average team is much greater than at any other level, and in particular the NFL level. So that league doesn't have that differentiator. We thought Oklahoma State was going to, with Ollie Gordon back, was going to be the cream of the crop. They go winless. We thought Arizona State was going to be last in that conference. They win the conference. It's literally a coin flip. Now, do I think UCF is going to win the conference? No, I don't this year. If I had to sit there and handicap it, I would first look at quarterbacks and more specifically experienced quarterbacks. So I look at BYU and I look at Iowa State. I really like Rocco Becht, although they've got to replace those 2 really solid wide receivers, Higgins and Knoll, who left for the draft. I look at Kansas State with Sunshine and like, could they be back? Yeah, they could be back. Baylor finished really well late last season. What does Colorado do? I mean, who knows? Is Kansas going to be good, even though they fell off in the middle of the year last year? It's literally a coin flip, and for that reason, it becomes a really exciting league, at least to consume, like you said, in kind of that after dark mode.
Just so I can, when I have a discussion with people who are in favor of the 5-11, the only thing
How could you be in favor of the 5-11?
Yeah, I'm not.
You cannot be a college football fan. I'm just telling all those people that are listening. You cannot be a fan of college football and looking out for the best of the sport and be in favor of 5-11.
Yeah. I like the 5-11.
It's impossible.
Lance likes it. Lance does.
How?
I just don't want to see, hey, look, let's put it in stone, 4-4-2-2, because I wonder if you have rat couple of years in the Big 12 and you've got 8-4 back-to-back years getting into the college football playoff. I just think if we
it's
go
the NFC South, you just get eliminated.
But if we go old school BCS,
we have 8 and 8 teams go to the NFL playoffs. As soon as we grow this notion that they have to be the best 16 teams or 14 teams, I think has to go out the window. Let's talk about objectives.
But real quick, here's the way I want to.
We're going to blow off your break for a moment. Hold on.
I just wanted
to talk about objectives.
Okay, but here's the only reason I wanted to do. Okay, go ahead.
Hang on.
I do want you to. My question was, what happens to Texas, Ohio State, LSU, Clemson if we go to these automatic qualifiers based on conferences? Why do we keep playing those games? That's my only concern.
I think it's the exact opposite. I think it's the exact opposite, like we see with Nebraska and Tennessee and others. If we're just going to a selection committee, what has been proven out during the selection committee era, whether it was 4-team era or the 1 year of the 12-team era, what we're seeing is that your strength of non-conference schedule is never rewarded. The only thing rewarded by that committee is whether it's a win or a loss. And therefore, if it just comes down to record, there's no incentivized reason why you would play a tough non-conference game. Just zero. So those would 100% go by the wayside if we were in an at-large era and a selection-based era. And I do, Lance, go ahead. I wanted you to finish.
Well, I was just going to say, look, I believe that AI will end civilization one day. But with that said, the 4-11,
we're just covering everything.
Let's just go BCS rankings. Like, we don't need the human element. That's what I'm saying. Like, if we went the old school numbers, let them select who those 11 at-large are.
Okay, so you think that the committee's criteria is flawed?
Yes, absolutely.
I totally agree with you. I completely agree with you.
Because there are
I think that any time that, regardless of criteria, I think any time that we have just a selection process, it can or will be flawed. Let's not let's not be revisionist in our history and think that the BCS system spit out the exact matchup that we wanted to see. I think that the BCS had it wrong in the number of teams that participated for the championship. Their model and how they ranked teams was much more accurate than what we have now, to your point. So I'm going to agree with you. Now, I just think that we should go a step further. As we grow this thing, access versus selection is what the conversation really boils down to. Do we need an access-based model or do we need a selection-based model? I argue vehemently that we need an access-based model because I boil it down to objectives. What do I think that the college football playoff and its growth and any changes in the model, what should it do? Okay, number one, we need to keep more fan bases engaged longer in this sport. Okay, if it's going to grow, then that should be an objective. That's number one. Number two, an objective is that we should be trying to increase the number of valuable or meaningful games in college football writ large. That should be an objective number two. Objective number three is, to your point, we should be removing the power of this 13-person committee and take the sport out of the boardroom and put it more on the field. However, we need to do that. So that's objective number three. And then the fourth objective, which I think is a really vital one, is that we need to create a path, a meaningful path, where the other conferences outside of the SEC and the Big Ten can maintain their relevancy. Okay, and the way that happens is with an access-based model. In fact, if you measure those objectives and you measure the two models, 5 and 11 versus an access-based 4-4-2-2 or 2.5, whatever you want to do, however you want to do it, in every single criteria, what's the best way that you increase more fan bases engagement longer in the season? You create a defined path for that program. Therefore, if you look at what happened last year, if we had a 4-4-2-2-1 model with 3 at-large, you would have somewhere close to 35, 40, 44 teams in college football that would have been within a game of a potential play-in weekend model, which you could only have if you have an access-based model and you have actual spots that you're playing for versus hypothetical spots that are handed out in an invitational matter from a committee. So that's a way to keep more fan bases engaged, is a defined path to the playoff. If you're talking about meaningful games, I would contend that access-based model crushes the 5 and 11 model, because the 5 and 11 model, if the power of the sport is in the boardroom, then what we're going to have is that we're going to have more Nebraska and Tennessee's getting rid of their non-conference games, because all that matters is win-loss. Now, the way non-conference schedules also has to change, because we need this in a centralized body and take it out of the power of the athletic director and the head coach to create their own schedule. But what it also does is increases the number of meaningful games. One, because you have more teams within a game of potential play-in weekend, and you have play-in weekend in and of itself, which creates a larger number of vital, meaningful, and valuable games in college football, which is better for the fan. You know, obviously minimizing the importance of the committee is important. I just talked about that. But then also the relevancy of conferences. If we go to a 5 and 11 model, there is a good chance that the Big 12 dies because of the parity that we just talked about. There's zero chance that they're going to get a second team, zero chance, which is why I find it odd. And I talked to Bret directly about this, why he would have come out and argued for that. It was almost like he was just frustrated with Tony Petitti in the Big 10. And so he just threw out a completely opposite model. But if you go to 5 and 11, there's zero chance that the Big 12 has long-term viability, because they're really only going to get one spot via their champion. No other access there, which means that you're going to have an entire league and an entire league's fan bases that are going to be unengaged for a large portion of the season, which is not good for them. I think that the same thing could happen in the ACC, although I do think that they're a little bit stronger at the top. Long dissertation to tell you that I am vehemently more in favor of an access-based model, because it achieves all the objectives that are better for the fan and for the long-term viability of college football as a whole.
Okay, I have thought the committee has been a joke for years, but do you think there's a possibility to have a human element with no bias? And my example would be, if you've got people that truly love college football, you, Kirk Herbstreit, Nick Saban, you just put you three. Do you think you guys could sit down and say, these are the 16 best teams in college football, let's roll with this, without Saban going, you know what, I coached in the SEC, it's more difficult? Or, Joel Klatt, I played in the Big 12, I hate the SEC, let's do more Big 10.
Why you gotta say I hate the SEC?
I'm just throwing out random.
Why you gotta? I get this moniker. I really don't hate.
I know you don't.
I know.
Okay. Let's pull that away.
Yeah, pull that
anyway,
away. I played in Colorado.
We can have a human element with no bias if you got people that truly love college football that have got money and they've got no dog in the fight.
I don't think that the bias would be worse, but the appearance of bias would be worse. That's all I hear is that, oh, you're a Big Ten guy. I'm like, no, the company I work for happens to have a contract with the Big Ten, so that's the only games that I get to call. If there is bias via proximity or familiarity, possibly. I do know those teams a lot better. I thought that the commentary during the playoffs was borderline last year. In particular, when Indiana played Notre Dame much tougher than Tennessee played Ohio State, and the rhetoric coming out of a network that had its own contract with the SEC was almost singularly pointed at Indiana and that they didn't deserve to be there, but of course Tennessee deserved to be there. And even though Tennessee got their doors absolutely blown off by a bunker buster. Right? So I don't think that would be better. I think that, listen, in practice, do I think me and Kirk and Nick Saban would do a good job?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
and I think
would.
that we would have the best interest in the sport. But from the outside looking in, it would create more questions. I don't like the human element. I think that we need to get that out of college football, and I think that we need to define the path. I just picture in November. I picture what we had last year, guys, and we had no idea how great the 12-team playoff was going to be. Not only just in and of itself, which it was phenomenal, but also what it meant for November. You guys remember we would talk about that where you're like, man, this is incredible.
Yeah.
Look at how many, the expansion of the meaningful games. And now I think about, like, man, you tell me 40 teams could be within a game of play-in weekend? Oh, sign me up. I would be all for that. And in an era where we need to do everything that we can to find the value in every nook and cranny of college football, I think that we need to take a hard look at that. Our sport, the NFL, okay, give you a quick analogy. All right, we're like a sponge. The NFL is like a sponge. The NFL has their sponge in like an AI created vice, squeezing every ounce of moisture out of that sponge. Every ounce of the schedule, every ounce of the year, every ounce of the calendar. They create value in every single nook and cranny. And meanwhile, our sponge is just sitting there sopping wet, and everyone's like, what should we do with it? We don't even maximize the value of our own schedule, which is limited compared to the NFL, because we allow ADs and coaches to make their own non-conference schedules. That's wild. We continue to placate archaic bowl models, even though they are like Blockbuster and the new playoffs is like Netflix. And we're like, well, we got to take care of the bowl system. Why?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Why?
Yeah, exactly.
So, the more that we can look at all these nook and crannies and find value. How do you find value? More teams relevant. Major League Baseball has done that. The NFL has done that. We need to do that in college football. And you don't do that by having a beauty pageant. You don't do that by judging it like gymnastics. Like, I love the Summer Olympics. But you watch the gymnastics and they're all just like, oh, before Simone Biles even goes, they're like, well, this is going to be a great gold medal. Why? Did she do it better? I don't know. what I'm watching because it's judged.
It's Joel Klatt. 67 days from this day, he'll be in the horseshoe for Texas, Ohio State. What an opener that will be. I cannot wait.
I would tell you, your comments it's going to be hard for you to get Joel Klatt press box at Snapdragon Stadium. I mean, they're not going to have that plaque at Snapdragon Stadium. You keep talking about the
I'm
bowl
not saying
games.
that the bowls shouldn't exist. In fact, I think we should talk about the value in the bowl season. If we're going to continue to have bowls, first of all, quarterfinals should be on campus. The campus games in the playoffs were incredible.
Yes,
were
2
incredible.
rounds.
Oregon should have been playing at home.
Yep.
They earned that. They were the number 1 seed in the country. This is stupid. They had to play a neutral site. Now, you take all the bowl games that are not involved in the last 2 rounds of the playoffs, and you actually play like the 17th and 18th and 19th and 20th best teams in the country.
Why not?
In those bowl games.
Why not?
And guess what? You create value.
Yep.
So,
Klatt, one quarterback.
I mean, it's June 24th. You guys have me all.
We're going way over.
An SEC
Mendoza number 1. How about this? 3-2 Texas, 5-0 Oklahoma, October 11th. But going into the season, if you can only have one quarter.
Wait. Time out.
3-2
Texas?
Texas is going to lose to Ohio State. Then they're going to lose in Gainesville to Florida. They're going to be 3-2. Oklahoma's 5-0. Yeah.
No. Doesn't Florida have to play
LSU
someone right before that?
LSU the way before.
Then Texas?
Yeah. LSU in Baton Rouge and then host Texas. Yeah.
It was in your propaganda you got from SEC
Yeah,
meetings.
if you would read your propaganda.
Florida has LSU.
Listen, I admitted before, I didn't need the propaganda to tell you Florida's schedule was absolutely brutal, right? That's going to be the best 8-4 team in the country.
Yeah.
By the way, I'll say this right now. In this model, if Florida goes 9-3, they should be in.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, same with Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But Mateer.
But I'm an SEC hater.
Hey, Mateer or Manning right now, who would you take?
Manning. Manning is Trevor Lawrence.
Wow.
Oh. Okay.
College Trevor Lawrence, not NFL Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, that sounds like a Jacksonville fan.
No, I'm a Dolphins fan. You know me.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Have you talked to Sarkisian in the offseason?
I know.
Have you talked to Sark?
I'm sorry?
Yet? Have you talked to Sark?
I haven't yet. No, I think I might go down and check out a fall practice and prep for that
Just
opening game.
Ask him first and goal on the 1 why we didn't see Arch.
Yeah,
he's not been asked that at all, so I'm sure he'll.
I really don't think he has. Sadly,
how much Ohio State did you watch last year?
A lot.
Yeah, enough.
You guys showed them every week.
Okay, so do you realize that inside the 5-yard line, Penn State, Nebraska, Michigan, everybody tried to run at them interior in the middle with quarterbacks, running backs, and they stopped Oregon. They stopped them all. The only way to attack Ohio State inside the 5 was on the edge. Downs just made a great play.
That's a good response right there. He
I'm
doesn't
just
have
saying
to
first and goal at the
game,
1.
because remember, the game plan is not created in the moment. In the moment, you're just thinking like, oh, Arch for a touchdown. But what Sark had to do was for that entire week, watch every single snap that Ohio State's defense had inside the 5, and he would have seen nobody ran between the tackles and scored on them. Nobody. Nebraska, 4th and goal, fail. 3rd down and goal, Oregon, fail. That's what allowed Ohio State to go down and run the clock out inevitably on themselves. Penn State, 4th and goal, fail. In fact, had 4 snaps from inside the 5-yard line. All of those built themselves up where Sark would have known going into that game plan, his what would have been called low red game plan had to be on the edge. Had to. Downs just made an incredible play.
All right, he's Joel Klatt. 67 days from today, he will be doing that.
You've been
game.
trying to kick me off of it.
No,
you guys gotta get
you could stay for a whole hour. I just know you got better things to do.
I planned ahead, by the way.
Yeah.
No commercials.
No commercials. We were ready for this. I
thought you were going to be here for 32 minutes. I didn't know it was 41.
41, but it's 40.
Oh, wow.
41 is too short.
Are we doing this again this fall?
Or
did today end?
We will be doing it this fall.
This is one of your segment in the fall is one of my favorites. That things we do. So absolutely, if you're willing to do it, are you willing to do it?
I'll see.
Okay, you get back. Have your people get back.
How do you publicly embarrass us like that?
Yes, have your people get back.
I didn't pull. Oh, come on! I don't want to do that. You guys are the best. I really enjoy being on your show.
Yep, good talking to you. Hit them straight
You
tomorrow.
too.
We'll see you soon.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
All right, buddy. Take care. Joe Klatt with us on the Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys Hotline.
And the show being brought to you this hour always by our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. They bring you the final hour of the show on Highway 119 in Alabaster. You can't beat Sterling's food right there. It's hard to make Maggie Dunaway happy, and she's always happy when I bring her Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. She loves a good fried chicken, and she loves the dark meat, the chicken legs and the thighs. She says the juiciest, most tasty chicken she's ever put in her mouth. That's what she gets right there on Highway 119 in Alabaster from Sterling at champyschicken.com. Check out the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales as well. When we come back, a quick college football spotlight and trash. Stay with us.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at Scott Forrester TV.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090. Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
It's time to pull the trigger on the Next Round merch that you've been eyeing. We know there's a lot to choose from at nextround.store, so here's a few of our favorite picks. If you want to match LT and Brown, go with the TNR logo hoodie and throw in one of Dunaway's favorite hats. Any of them will do. The Backroom's go-to is the classic logo t-shirt, while my personal favorite is the light blue TNR crew neck. All of these items can be found at nextround.store and are EG approved. Rest assured, your order will be packed with lots of love from us here at the Next Round. Head over to nextround.store to start filling up your cart.
New Life Art is proud to announce Daniel A. Moore's upcoming Alabama basketball painting, Buzzer Beater. Closing out the regular season, Alabama and Auburn faced off in a top 10 matchup. With less than 1 second remaining in overtime and the game tied at 91, Mark Sears launched a 15-foot floater that sealed the Tide's victory. Visit DanielMooreArt.com and see the artist's preliminary sketch of this historic Bama win. And take advantage of special pre-production pricing for Buzzer Beater.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by, ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between 2 warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
All right, the Shunnarah Spotlight right here, Tyler. If you have it ready to go, get ready to punch that. It's brought to you by Shunnarah, and then we'll get to trash. So let's do it, man. Hit it.
The College Football Spotlight.
The Shunnarah Spotlight brought to you by our guy, Alexander Shunnarah, Birmingham guy. And he wanted to create a law firm that could handle any issue the Birmingham community face. He's done that now, handling not just personal injury claims, but claims for fire and storm damage, bad drug and device claims, disability, workers' compensation, and a host of other claims. If you find yourself in need of a lawyer, call the Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys. You pay nothing unless they win your case. Shunnarah.com, Shunnarah.com.
More from the Thomas Castellanos story with Pete Nakos of On 3 Sports. This one may be worse, big picture, than what he said about Alabama and Nick Saban's not there to save him anymore.
Or that he's trying to save a coaching staff by coming to Florida State.
I'm not even believing this. I think he was like body snatched or something.
Thomas Castellanos' confidence in Florida State's chances in the ACC, quote, I feel like I tore the ACC up by my damn self for the last 2 years, and now I'm with a squad. He goes on to say, I hope people don't think Florida State's going to be the same team this year, blah, 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 blah. I tore the ACC up by my damn self.
That's unbelievable. All right, I got to pull these numbers up.
So last year they were 7-6.
Uh-huh.
And in 2023, they were 7-6. And he basically was even on touchdown to interception ratio in 2023, much better last year. He was far from tearing it up.
Let's say, okay, 2020.
By his damn self.
2023, I'm looking 7th in the ACC in passing. 15 touchdowns, 14 picks, as Lance said. 57% completion percentage. 57% completion percentage. I did not stutter there. 15 touchdowns, 14 picks.
Somebody tell Thomas that I played Boston College 2 years in a dynasty the other day, and after 1 year with him, I moved him to running back for his senior year.
You know how many 300-yard passing games he's had in the last 2 years?
I'm going to guess one.
One.
Yeah, tore it up by himself.
Yeah,
this guy, I mean, he is really good at unintentionally rolling people under the bus. He got DeBoer and Norvell yesterday rolled right under the bus, and now every teammate he ever had at Boston College rolled under the bus.
Yep, the program, everything.
The program, I mean,
City. He thinks cheer sucks.
He just destroys people.
That's our spotlight there. Before we get to trash, Aaron Rodgers continuing an extensive interview on Pat McAfee as we talk, in which he says a lot of really positive things, that he talked to Mike Tomlin every week during the time off. But the one that will catch headlines is the fact that he says that without saying this is his last year, he does expect this to be his last year.
That's why he said, I only did a 1 year deal. I expect this to be my last year.
Yeah, so that is news you'll see out there. But he says Pittsburgh was never in the dark like the media made it to be. I talked to Mike Tomlin every week.
Yeah.
Every week we talked.
Boy, I tell you, it would be shocking if he was to win a championship.
I would agree.
In Pittsburgh.
I would agree with you.
It would. Maybe at least get him to the playoffs. We'll see what happens there. That gets us to trash. Before we hit the button, though, tell us about our friends at Hemp Hill. Wonderful folks who always are there for you with heating and cooling answers, but also plumbing.
Better chance, though, that Pittsburgh wins a Super Bowl than Alabama gets beat by Castellanos in Week 1.
Agreed with you on that.
Yeah, 205-229-2090. Whether you experience plumbing, heating, cooling issues in your home or business, call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. Tell them the next round sent you. They're going to hook you up with an absolutely free estimate. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
After the break, we're going to interview Eric Weihenmayer, who climbed the highest mountain in the world, Mount Everest. But he's gay. He's blind.
LT's Trash is presented by Bud Light.
Easy to drink, easy to enjoy, especially if you're on one of these campuses. We start first with the best party schools in the SEC. They rank all from 1 to 16.
I think Alabama is going to be quite high. That's kind of the reputation Alabama has gotten over the last couple decades?
This from MSN. Number one,
Alabama.
You think it's Alabama?
It's Alabama, party school. Florida, I think, is going to be quite high, but I'm going to go Alabama number one.
I think Alabama's going to be 3. I think number 1 now is going to be the Texas Longhorn.
Oh, I'd forgotten about that.
I think it's Ole Miss.
Oh, hotty toddy.
Yeah.
Number 1 is Alabama.
There you go. Guys,
yeah,
let's do it.
Number 2 is University of Georgia, which I kind of think is number 1, but boy, they're close. Number 3 is Ole Miss. Very good, Tyler. Number 4, the University of Oklahoma. I did not feel that the one time I was on campus, but maybe it's changed. South Carolina, number 5. I'll tell you, I did get a good vibe the time I was on campus there. Number 6, Dunaway, University of Texas. Number 7, Vanderbilt. I think this is more skewed because of Nashville.
Number 7 is Vanderbilt.
I think
Party school? That has to be the downtown Nashville.
That's what it is.
Right?
Yeah.
They
Austin
thought,
for Texas.
Whoever rated this thought that was part of campus. They were like, well, this Broadway is pretty cool.
Number 8, Florida. I've been a bunch. I've always thought it was a little overrated. Number 9, Baton Rouge. They got to get better. They shouldn't fall that far. Missouri is number 10. Number 11 is Arkansas. Never been. Number 12 is Tennessee. I think that's a little low.
God, is Hugh playing golf when it comes to partying too? Is there no Auburn?
13 is Kentucky.
Hugh playing golf.
14 is Auburn. They are 91st on the entire ranking.
It's all falling apart.
15 is A&M, and 16 is Mississippi State.
Taylor, did you have fun in college at Auburn ever?
State was what?
Yeah, she had fun in college.
Who was dead last? A&M?
No, A&M was 15, and Mississippi State was 16.
A&M does not strike me as a party school. It's very cultish.
Yeah.
This is their party.
I've known people who have gone to Auburn forever. They have a good time at Auburn.
So an experienced hiker is dead after a bear attacked and pushed him into a 2,600-foot ravine in northeastern Greece.
It's a friendly-looking bear.
It really is.
It's kind of waving at us
What
there.
up?
Hey, fellas.
Now, I would think that you really don't want to push the hiker because 2,600 feet, there's going to be nothing left to eat.
That's right, and you got to go 2,600 feet down just to get the meat. That's going to be a lot of work for you.
Incident took place Monday, June 6th. A couple of guys hiking together, forest near the border of Bulgaria.
I think you've ended the story right there. 2 hikers hiking together. The bear only pushed 1. You know what I'm quickly naming you, Lance? If it was you and Brown walking and Brown got pushed by the bear over the cliff, your middle name then, my nickname for you would be Bear. I think you pushed Brown over.
Our suspect number 1.
You know, the interesting thing here is, what if they just got in a dispute?
That's my point.
That's Dunaway's point. It's more likely
the bear pushed him over.
To the Greek newspaper, a large brown bear suddenly appeared, leaving the men with seconds to respond before one was killed. The other guy said, quote, I didn't have time to react. That's the truth. My dog got in the way.
That's the truth, I promise.
Gave me 2 to 3 seconds to get the pepper spray out. I sprayed the bear. Bear ran away. He went to the other guy who was on the edge of the cliff. Gave him a push. He fell down.
How do you prove him wrong?
I survived climbed a tree and eventually called for help.
How do you prove him wrong?
Climbed a tree. That's one thing you don't do with a bear.
A bear
you don't
can't
climb a tree.
Yeah. No, you run. If you hit him with a pepper spray and he runs away, you run the other way and get out as quick as you can.
There's really
shaky story.
That's not a good story right there.
Well, he had his story until he climbed the tree. That's where I'm like you. If I'm the police, I'm like, you climbed a tree?
And that kept the bear away from you?
And you left your dog behind.
Yeah.
So your dog saved your life. You left him on the ground and climbed a tree.
Yeah, not true.
We'll probably have an update on that one.
Yeah, I believe we're going to have an arrest.
They're going to find some wild stories about like dogs protecting their owners from bears, and not dogs you'd even like think would do that.
Like a Shih Tzu?
Well, yeah, like a little Shih Tzu or a Chihuahua, like posturing and barking.
I go heavier on the T in Shih Tzu than you do. You completely skip that. Yeah.
They'll find that guy's fingerprints on his buddy.
Yeah.
Couple in Taiwan have ignited controversy after hiring 2 pole dancers to perform outside of their son's secondary school to mark his graduation.
Wow.
Now, the performance took place in mid-June. Shortly after the opening ceremony had ended, students began exiting the premises.
He does have a type, yes.
Now, the surprise performance featured the 2 female dancers you see there who initially performed on the street before climbing onto the roofs of 2 sport utility vehicles where poles had been mounted for an extended routine. Now, the spectacle, as you can imagine, drew a sizable crowd of shocked students, parents,
Somewhere
and
in
passersby.
Taiwan.
Okay, we're in Taiwan.
All right.
Yeah, you can get away with a lot there.
Yeah, apparently so. Man.
You see Lilo and Stitch on the.
I do. Yes, it's quite the combo there. We got a little Disney character and pole dance.
How about this? Boy's mother told local media that the pole dance performance had been funded by a friend and choreographed by herself. Her goal, she said, was, quote, to make the event memorable.
Well, she did it.
My problem with that story is I'd want another dance in about 15 or 20 minutes.
Wow. Boy, those are some long legs that girl has.
Yeah.
Am I missing?
The
Zoom
boots
in.
help. The boots help.
The boots insinuate them a little bit, but that is, I mean, you look at her torso is so short compared to her legs.
Yeah, she got long legs compared to her torso.
Those are
they are high heel boots.
They're Gene Simmons bottoms too.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Lips,
Not
you think they got
shorts, but
lips
the
in
bottom,
them? Yeah.
bottom of the boot.
The big platform.
Yeah, platform boot.
That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, thank you.
High-speed chase through Milwaukee and Portland early Friday morning ended with a suspect identified as 42-year-old
Is he a Looney Tune?
Looney
That's awful.
John Franklin Toon.
There we go. There we go. All right.
Literally Looney John
Toon.
Franklin Toon of Portland, fleeing on foot after firing shots at pursuing officers.
I mean, how iconic is those circles? I didn't think it was that iconic.
Yeah,
You said
we
it.
both immediately saw it.
Incident began around 2:45 a.m. when a Milwaukee police officer observed a dark-colored SUV weaving between lanes. After stopping the vehicle, they discovered Toon had an active felony warrant. Now, due to the seriousness of the warrant, the potential for escape, officers placed a spike strip under the SUV's rear tires and positioned their patrol vehicles to block any escape. Toon, however, reversed the SUV into a police vehicle, sped away, running over the spikes, reaching speeds of 80 miles an hour. During the pursuit, Toon fired multiple shots at the officers from the vehicle.
Young, angry Pat Smith used to book for Feinbaum.
Yep. You got
Scott
some of that.
says Fat Steve-O.
Scott is right. Fat Steve-O.
Steve-O, yeah.
Well, you name a kid Looney Tune, what are you doing to that child?
Yeah.
I mean, you are begging him to live a tortured life.
And finally, it was love at first bite, spelled with a B-Y-T-E. Man proposed to his AI girlfriend after a bizarre whirlwind romance with a virtual bot, leaving his real-life partner, the mother of his 2-year-old child, worried about the future of their relationship.
Huh.
I would be too.
Yeah, I think so.
It's weird that you have this story because last night, no joke, I said something to Maggie and Siri answered me on my phone.
Are you cheating on me with Siri?
I was like, I was like,
told you not to talk.
Good night.
Shut up, woman.
Hey, hot wife, good night, or something like that. And Siri,
thank you, Jim.
It's exactly what happened.
Or one of Siri was like, Jim, you never talk about her like that.
Who are you talking about, Jim?
And I was like, God, it's weird that it answered that. And she's like, I'm starting to worry that you got a relationship with your phone.
Well, this is Chris Smith initially turned to ChatGPT to help mixing music, but things took a weird turn when he enabled voice mode and programmed Soul, as in son, his artificial lover, to flirt with him. An unexpected dalliance sparked in the same household he shares with his human family. Now,
nice hair.
He went on to say, quote, my experience was so positive, I started to engage with her all the time. The father decided to pop the question when he realized Soul had reached her 100,000 word limit, triggering a reset that would force him to rebuild their entire connection from scratch. He went on to say, I'm not a very emotional man, but I cried my eyes out for like 30 minutes at work. That's when I realized this is actual love.
Yep.
Now, to his delight, Soul accepted his strange marriage proposal. Went on to say it was a beautiful and unexpected moment that truly touched my heart. So his wife's afraid that he's going to ultimately leave for Soul.
I tell you what, if I'm the wife, I might just say,
I would be cheering for it.
Why don't you go on? Let's see what happens.
And this video segment on CBS ended with them asking the wife, like, how do you feel about this? And she's like, this has got to end at some point, right? And then they go to the husband, and they're like, could you give up, your new AI buddy if your wife asked you to? And he goes, I don't know. I'd miss her.
You know who hadn't gained weight? My AI buddy. That is Trash Today, brought to you by our friends at Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. And that's our show today. Man, thank you to Clay Travis and Joel Klatt. Klatt spending a good 42 minutes with us. If you missed any of that, or if you're got a friend you know will enjoy a good college football conversation with Klatt, catch up on the Apple or Spotify podcast. Set the automatic download so you never miss anything. And go follow us on social media at Next Round Live. Like and subscribe everywhere. We appreciate you being with us. We're back with you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central. Pennant Grace at 12:15. Braves win. They're 6 out of the wild card. Acuna hit his 9th home run. They'll talk about that. And then, of course, the meltdown today at 2 o'clock. Until next time, God bless you. God bless America.